1. The Angry Chicken Hearthstone podcast is produced by amove.tv. Check out amove TV for more podcasts covering Blizzard games. For more of Jocelyn's gaming podcasts, visit jossplays.com. And to find many more podcasts with Ridiculous Hat, follow @RidiculousHat on Twitter. Every episode of TAC is made possible thanks to our legendary patrons over at patreon.com/TAC.
Time's up. Let's do this.
Legendary!
You face Jaraxxus. You smell like a leper gnome. I knew it. So hot.
A podcast about Hearthstone and Battlegrounds. This is The Angry Chicken!
Greetings and welcome back, everybody. This is The Angry Chicken, as that disembodied voice of one Ben Brode had to say. I'm Garrett, here as always with Jocelyn and Ridiculous Hat, and we are back on the night before Stormwind. You may have forgotten that an expansion was coming out. We wouldn't blame you. Francis Townsend is still being a terrible person, and we are still up in arms about that. Don't let being excited for new cards distract from the fact that shit is still a problem over at Activision Blizzard. And the fact that we are going to be talking about cards today does not mean it's been magically fixed. Actually, this is completely off the cuff. How the hell do we still not have like an official statement from Jalen Brack? We just got the leaked email. It's just, that's it. That's it. We haven't gotten official anything from the leader at Blizzard. I'm gonna flip a Jurassic Park quote here. You do have a leadership in your Activision Blizzard leader, right? Right? The Blizzard leader has leadership. Is that a thing?
I mean,
Doesn't
Kotick
seem
put
to.
out that- Kotick put out that letter the night before the strike, which was, or the walkout, whatever you want to call it. When the stock price tanked by 10 points, which for some reason made the initial response tone deaf. I don't know. I'm not a science doctor. I don't know exactly what happened there, but I would guess that when they lost billions of dollars, that was probably when he felt like we should do something. But they probably don't have anything to say. I'm sure Brack is just looking for the perfect Gloria Steinem quote. That can take a minute. There's a lot of books to look through. But otherwise, I don't. This is going to take a long time. The employees still seem pretty riled up, and the power's with the people, which is why we're continuing to support the company, because the employees don't want us to boycott. They want to eat the rich and turn over their own executive suite, and more power to them. But I don't think that the executives have anything to say right now. Like, what can they really do that would actually be substantive other than resigning?
I mean,
maybe that's the next statement we hear.
Stepping down, yeah.
I mean, I not to detract from your statement there, Hat, but I would like to say that I think, you may have you set the bar a little too high. What I've been seeing from employees is they want to stop being harassed and be able to, afford a house in Irvine, which seems pretty, reasonable. It's a reasonable request.
Irvine seems unreasonable, but they could just not have the company there. I don't know.
Fair. Sorry, Joss.
That's okay. I was just gonna say that, I agree that resignations are probably needed, but I don't necessarily expect to see any anytime soon, unless we were talking kind of pre-show about Fran and her terrible job that she seems to be doing right now, and she might be basically fired, let go as a see we're doing something, and it's yeah, but are you?
Okay, the lawsuit wasn't preemptively stating you had a terrible lawyer.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. I mean, I think this whole situation will take a really long time to play out. I'm glad that all of the employees are still making their voices heard and are still sharing their stories. Honestly, this has now lasted and kind of taken up the news cycle for a lot longer than I personally thought it was going to. So I was definitely wrong there. I thought we'd be talking about this for 2 to 3 days and that'd be the end of it. So I think that the women of Blizzard and the ones sharing their stories and the ones kind of amplifying those voices are very much keeping this in the forefront of everyone's mind. So I think, shout out to them and thank you for continuing to, thank you to everyone for continuing to care. I'll be completely honest. I thought that this was going to go differently. So I am glad that I am wrong.
I mean, if you're going to be wrong about something,
Yeah, exactly.
it's good to be wrong about positive concern.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I mean, I think the walkout seemed to go really well, though there has also been conversations about the fact that, like Blizzard let everybody walk out, and if a company is letting you walk out, is it really a walkout? So I mean, there is a little bit of that, of how much impact did it actually have, but I think if nothing else, it kind of showed the outside world a little bit of like, there are people fighting for change within Blizzard, and that they are worth supporting. So I absolutely support everybody that participated in the walkout, whether, it actually had the impact that they hoped it did in terms of their executive.
Yep. Stock price is still hurting, and this whole thing went down last Wednesday night. Not a dip at all in the price. Tuesday morning, when the employees announced what they were doing, or I think it was actually late Monday night, but when stocks opened on Tuesday, the stock dropped from 90 to the low 80s, where it remains to this day. The people have the power. So if you want to find a way to support the people that are suffering here, do what the employees want to do, because they are cohesive and very clear about what they want to do. And it's not quit Blizzard, it's make the bad people leave Blizzard. And it's
Yeah.
not boycott Blizzard games, it's make Blizzard games with other people that aren't the bad people.
Mhm.
So it's all about continued positive engagement and respecting the power of the people, because the employees are the ones that are really making the difference here. Could not be more proud of them.
Yep. And we will continue to cover it when there's new developments there outside of additional stories. There's been nothing in terms of the lawsuit itself that has changed.
Yep.
So when we get updates, we will talk about them on this program. But in the meantime, we are still playing the game. We are still excited. We still want to support the Hearthstone team. And so that's what we're going to do. And we're going to do a show for you today. And so before we get into it, we want to thank those of you who are supporting us. As I mentioned last week, completely understand if you decide it's maybe not the right time to be supporting a podcast that covers Blizzard topics. We totally understand. Some of you disagreed, and I want to thank you, those of you who disagreed and became patrons in the last week. So thank you, Chris R., Keith Hurst, Peter Lego, and Enraged Chicken. That is the name that was put in the name field.
Enraged Chicken is also often in our Twitch chat.
Yes. Thank you, Enraged Chicken. We really appreciate it. But we've got what will probably be quite the long show. So let's get into this week's Hearthstone news.
Good news, everyone!
Patch 21.0 has released. It's here. It's already in the game. You may have already noticed if you played. Hopefully you didn't play on Wednesday. Support the walkout. But there's quite a bit in here. We're not going to get too deep into it because we're going to actually talk cards today. There's a lot of cards to talk about. We're not going to talk about all of them, but we're going to talk about.
We're on page 1 of the show notes. We have 24.
24 pages. I mean, most of it's taken up by like card images.
Yeah, images.
So that's a
exactly.
little deceptive, but yeah. Anyways, patch 21.0.
Don't mitigate it. Let's do the bit. Let's own the bit.
Let's do 24 pages. We've never had a show this long since we put even more card images in a show note doc. There we go. Anyway, in 21.0, there's all sorts of things, including a new battleground hero, Galewing, which is Dungar's Griffin, if you're keeping track at home. The hero powers to choose a flight path. Really interesting things happen. What's more interesting is how damn powerful this hero is, debuting in the top 3 heroes in Battlegrounds, according to HS Replay. What's more curious is how Garrett Weinzerl hasn't been offered Galewing yet. I personally think that's a travesty.
Well,
Garrett Weinzerl played Battlegrounds.
That's not. Is that a directive or obvious news?
No, it's a question. Have you played Battlegrounds?
Yeah. Yes.
Like a lot?
I wouldn't categorize any interaction with Blizzard games last week as a lot. But I
There are a lot of heroes in the game.
I played some hat. I played some. Listen, man, you wanted me to commit to the previous bit. I'm gonna ask you to return the favor.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you get the bird. I would like for you to get the bird.
Are you want to give me the bird? Is that what you're telling me?
I don't want to give it to you. I want to have it.
Oh, okay.
I don't have a bird to give you.
You were just
so
like-
I can't.
Okay. Fair. Well, there's lots of wild parrots in Florida. I'm sure I can give myself
I'm
the
gonna
bird.
update the show title to "Who Has the Bird," and we're gonna see if that lasts all episode.
Yep. Cool. There's also a major duels update, as well as, the new cards are in duels early if you are a duels player. There's an arena rotation. There's a new Book of Heroes coming, Illidan, coming on August 10th. That was part of this patch, was laying the groundwork for that. We also got details on the Tavern Pass, which is probably a good time to remind you that when the rewards track refreshes, once Stormwind launches, all players will automatically be granted any unclaimed rewards on both the free and paid Tavern Pass track, and the new rewards track will take its place. If you're listening to this on Tuesday, depending on what time, it may have already happened. You might have been confused, and hopefully I just cleared that up for you. Then we also got pictures of the new Stormwind coins that were shown, and this is a technical term, a butt ton of bug fixes were in this patch. But also some new bugs, and for that, I throw the hat.
All right. So first of all, I do think there's opportunity here for clarity around pre-patch versus rotation day, and also the phrase, the word Tavern Pass, which still has confused a lot of people. So just to be clear, the paid rewards track is $20 US or 20 euros or whatever your local currency is. But that does not include the BG perks, and does not come with the rewards track, and cannot be purchased with gold, whereas the BG perks are 2,500 gold and can be purchased with real money as well. And I've gotten questions about that multiple times a day for the past week. So just clarifying that. Also, we were originally told that the Baron's achievements would roll over with Stormwind launch, and you would still be able to get experience with Baron's achievements from pre-patch day last Tuesday through this Tuesday. That turned out to be wrong. That the patch changes over basically everything that was released in the Darkmoon Fair patch, duels, and the rewards track. That stuff all changes the second the patch hits your client, except for the rewards track itself. But duels rolls over, and you can play with the new cards. But Arena doesn't roll over, and you can't play with the new cards. And the achievements do roll over, and you can get the new quests, like the quest lines and tradables and the dailies and the weeklies and all that stuff, even though those cards aren't in the game, except for in duels. But everything else stays the same. Are you confused yet?
Little bit.
Yes, I'm legitimately, this is not a bit. I am confused where the disconnect is. What's the confusion? Some people think that the track already rotated when it hasn't.
The achievements. It's the achievements that's the big one. That people thought they had an extra week to finish out the Baron's achievements and get their experience, and that is false. That is the second the patch hit,
So
the Baron's
achievements cut off. Okay, all right.
But the patch notes
'cause there's
originally
some
said that they
have
didn't.
there's some that have like a little like treasure chest icon on them, right? That those ones actually reward XP as opposed to just the achievement points that are just space points that mean nothing. So there's kind of I think it's kind of a big deal, that
I do think
people
that's
thought.
It seems counterintuitive.
Yeah. So I understand why people are confused.
Yeah, it's clear there's
And
some stuff
upset.
that's client side versus server side. Like I don't know exactly how it works, but it's even the devs were confused, which tells you that there's opportunity to work on this, which I'm
Yeah.
sure they'll get to.
Yeah, it's the kind of thing, right? Because like if you're getting experience from certain achievements that are tied to an expansion, and the Tavern Pass track is tied to the expansion, and the Tavern Pass track doesn't roll over when the patch hits, you would also think that the achievements would stay active until the rewards track changes. That just seems like that's how it should work. And as you pointed out, if devs were confused, then what hope is there for the rest of us?
No wonder we're confused. Yeah. Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
I imagine that they will work on this. There is also a bug that is not in the patch notes because they didn't know about it until afterwards, but the 21.0 patch has led to some major issues in tournament settings because the friends list has been a source of contention, especially for competitive players for a long time. There have been various stages of severity. The flickering has been there for like a while now, like a long time now, but it doesn't directly impact. There have been a few times where you weren't actually able to click the challenge button. Then they integrated BNet, like your friends across multiple regions. Remember, you can see them in the friends list now when it's over 200, weirdly so. And now with the new patch, the friends list ticks up very slowly when it loads into the client as to who you get to see. But sometimes you can have someone on your friends list in BNet, but they don't show up in the Hearthstone client. which means you cannot challenge them, which is problematic if you are relying on the challenge feature to play literally any tournament, because that's how that works. So, the solution to this that they have found for official Blizzard qualifiers, besides escalating the bug, and it's a very high priority bug, and both A-Bar and Celestion confirmed it. They know about it. They know about it. They know about it. I promise they know about it, listeners. But the solution they currently have in qualifiers, if you run into the friendsless bug where the players cannot see each other in client, is to flip a coin for the winner.
Wait, this is an official Blizzard decision, not just Dreamhack?
This is Blizzard and Blizzard qualifiers.
Oh, boy.
If they are affected by the friendsless bug, which they were this past weekend with qualifiers, is to type /coinflip as an admin, type /coinflip and picks one player to advance.
Oh, okay.
Not the best.
So I've been a little distracted. I heard tale of this from one RidiculousHat.
Tails or heads?
You know, I'm gonna RidiculousHats off to you for that one. That was good.
Thank you.
And I assumed, because you mentioned, the only mention I heard of this was from you in regards to Dreamhack. I assumed it was Dreamhack. It was already, the train has left the station. We need to figure something out. Crap. Okay, this really sucks, but we got to go because we're going. We're going to do a coin flip. You're telling me that that's not the case, that this is a Blizzard decision. Just flip a coin.
So Dreamhack, which was week-long virtual Dreamhack where they had this like cool web-based MMO show floor thing. It was interesting. Well, like it was fun, you know, like it's like playing a browser game from Facebook in the 2000s. Like it was enjoyable. And it's a week-long tournament with a bunch of money at stake and Masters Tour invites, but it's a week-long tournament. And so the patch came out on Tuesday and the event was going, and then they found out about this friendsless bug. Dreamhack's initial solution was delay by a day and hope that they hotfix it and make it better. There was a patch to BNet during the time, and there was also an issue with Android that they fixed, and people were hopeful that the friendsless issue would be resolved. It is, according to Celestion on Twitter, it is multiple bugs that happen simultaneously, and there are workarounds, including you can wait a little longer for the friends list to fully populate and also cull your friends list. Neither of which are great, and again, these have been acknowledged to not be great, and they know about it, and they're working on a very high priority bug being actively worked on. But Dreamhack knew about it, delayed for a day, didn't run the event for a day so they could delay to Wednesday. The Blizzard qualifiers started on Thursday and ran through the weekend as usual. Blizzard chose to continue running the qualifiers, and if they ran into this issue, /coinflip. So I don't know if that's better or worse than canceling an entire weekend of qualifiers. Because if you cancel an entire weekend of qualifiers, what you're saying is that if this isn't fixed by next week, which is expansion release week, which is unlikely to get any kind of live patch, then we're going to keep canceling qualifiers, because there's no reason, if this is bad enough to stop running events, for us to start running events again until it's fixed. But nobody is really satisfied with /coinflip. So
No.
Well, no one should be satisfied with /coinflip. I remember like way back in the day, it would have been like 2015, that there were like rumors going around that players were playing in like qualifiers at the time and being like literally like coin flipping because the game was so coin flippy. And at first I thought they were like playing out the matches, and then it was just like, oh, whatever, things are coin flippy in the game. And I thought they were being like hyperbolic, like, oh, I lost to a coin flip, but it was like literally pro players flipping coins, and it was this like huge like Hearthstone esports scandal. And then like here we are, legit from Blizzard, being like, you know, fast forward 6 years and they're freaking saying that's how we decide our esport. Come on, Blizz, what the hell?
I mean, it's either cancel qualifiers for like probably multiple weeks.
Yeah.
Or do this, and to be fair, this is not every player, it's not every round, it's not that common, but it's common enough. I don't think there's a great solution. But that makes
the whole tournament, like, yeah, that just, it throws like the whole tournament out of whack. And if they've introduced a bug that makes it impossible for them to play their esport qualifiers, then they should not play their esport qualifiers. Like, I can't imagine in any other esport if they were just like, oh, okay, for League of Legends, looks like for some reason you can't get into the tournament client, so therefore we're gonna flip a coin. No, like no other esport like fan base would stand for that. That's insane. I don't know. I just like this. Just it blows my mind.
It feels like there should be a better solution than this. And I know they're working on it. I am certain that Abar and the devs are very unhappy. Abar is the program manager or the
Yeah.
product manager for Hearthstone Esports, and he's great.
He just came back, didn't he? I thought he left Blizzard and he just got rehired back or something.
He was the producer before, like he made the technical side of the events happen and dealt with all the video and all that stuff.
Right.
Then when Lokazi left, when Drew H left, Abar came back as the person in charge of the esports program from like a management and direction side. And it's been a great fit for him so far. He's already banned some toxic players. He was very clear about his announcement on Maestra being banned and why, and so on and so forth. And he was very responsive about this on Twitter during Ixar's AMA of like, this is a super high priority bug that's being actively worked on. And he's been on the job for like a month. I'm certain that he's really upset about it, but also I cannot imagine a good solution to this, but also the reason that I have to try and imagine is because this isn't it. This is not it.
Yeah.
Well,
No,
yeah, but at the same time too, it's like, and I'm not saying you're doing this, but I think it'd be easy for some listeners to interpret it this way. We're not putting all of this on Abar. Like, there's
no,
none of this is on Abar.
like the friends list is also
0%.
like the friends list itself is not even Hearthstone specific. It is a BattleNet friends list that has its own issues across every single Blizzard game.
Abar is given a shit sandwich, and does he want the side with mustard or relish? Like those are your choices. I don't want this sandwich. I want a different sandwich. But if you look at those two,
yeah. I just wanted to make that abundantly clear. It's like there's so many moving parts to this. It's just like
and bugs happen, and BattleNet talking to Hearthstone is also multiple teams interacting.
Yeah.
But I'm not here to make excuses. I'm not here to defend people. Whatever. I respect the team and the work that they are doing, but the situation that we have found ourselves in is one that competitors are upset with and are choosing to not play in qualifiers because of, and I also cannot blame them. So I hope a fix is made quickly for this, but for people that care about the Hearthstone tournament scene, well, you probably know about this already. But if you don't, it's a lot.
Yeah. Well, certainly hope they fix it. And also just a reminder, boy, the friends list just in general could use a major update.
Yep.
Anyways, there was an XR AMA that, as usual, yielded all sorts of factoids. We're going to cover a very, very small amount here so that we can move on to talk about cards. But one of the standout highlights was that XR mentioned that it's just a matter of time before we see a permanent slot in addition to the 7 minions we can play on board. They just need to figure out the UI UX design. This blew my mind. That just feels like, no, what? No, you're changing math? You can't change math.
I had the same kind of like reaction to this. I was like, no, 7, that's it. That's all we'll ever have. That's all we've ever had. And don't change it. My brain, ow, stop.
I think that we have the technology in 2021, 7 years after the game's release, to go from this many. Audio listeners, I'm holding up fingers.
Hold your fingers in closer.
Audio
It's a
listeners,
crop.
I held up.
It's a crop. Put them in front of your face.
I held up one additional finger to illustrate the point. We went from 7 to 8. I think I'm Jewish, so I can say this. I think we can go full Hanukkah. We can do full 8. We can go full Hanukkah.
I think you said full H, like you were previous. We can go full H, full Hanukkah.
Well, that's how we shorten it. It's a Jewish thing. We don't actually do that. Please, nobody quote me. I'm sorry, Mom.
Oh God.
Now I want you to sing 8 Crazy Minions. That's what I want you to sing.
Yeah, Adam Sandler songs are not actually as traditional as you might think in the Jewish faith.
No?
No. Well, as somebody who grew up going to Catholic school, it was my window into the Jewish world.
Yeah, it was big on accessibility. I don't have any problem with Adam. Adam's a good dude.
Listen, I know, to bring it back to the series, like, I know that I have to assume, and Ixar is essentially confirming that 7 minion max was a limitation of the tech. However, at this point, I feel like 7 minion cap has now, even though it came into being as a tech limitation, it now feels like a hard rule of Hearthstone. That'd be like them saying, "Ooh, we figured out how to add another mana gem. We're gonna let you just go up to 11 just because we figured it out." It's one of these things like and this sounds like a pushback, but it's no. I'm actually super interested. I want to, like, I'm sure this has gone through their head that it's like they're not just doing this because they can, but because they should. I'm really warping a lot of Jurassic Park quotes today, but like, Ixar, dive deeper into this. Like, why should you? I'm excited that you can. But now sell me on the should.
Yeah, I'm with you, Garrett. It does feel very much like a innate Hearthstone rule, like what the whole game has been created around, regardless of the original reason. So that's definitely where my head went too, is like, oh my God, how many things does this break? Like how many decks, how many cards, like how many things rely on 7 being the cap and would be totally completely broken if the cap were 8 or higher. Like we don't really know, but like this, I don't know. Just it seems like a rule, and rules are there for a reason.
And Karazhan chess, the adventure chess, it's dependent on maxing out at the odd number.
That's true.
Won't someone think of the rooks?
Yeah, this was the craziest thing I thought that came out of the AMA. Most of the other stuff was pretty small. They were brainstorming new single player content, but we won't see anything until late next year, which is kind of fine. I think I know a lot of people have missed a lot of the single player content, but there've been all the Book of Heroes and Book of Mercenary stuff as well. So there's been things to do should you be interested in single player content. So we're going to see a little bit of a gap in those release times, but I think that's fine. And then, so Maester of the Masquerade was brought up by Ixar as his favorite card of United in Stormwind, and apparently the design was cut out of at least 2 other sets. And I don't think we've actually talked about this card yet on TAC. We're going to talk about her a little bit later on as part of the Rogue Legendaries, but it's such a cool design. Like, it's so roguey and neat. I love it. I'm sad that she's banned. I understand kind of why, but I'm very sad.
Yeah, there'll be a lot to talk about there. Frankly, I would just like to curse the team in advance for the Rogue Legendary designs, because we are going to highlight legendaries today, and I'm fairly certain Rogue will be an hour of today's podcast.
Yeah.
Just from the 2 legendaries, mostly the quest line. But yeah. Also, quest lines just in general. I don't know about y'all, but I was sitting here kind of formatting the show going, Jesus, quest lines really bloats the notes.
Yeah.
God.
Oh, that's some note bloat right there.
For an audio format content platform, they are the worst thing that Team 5 has ever done to us. They're so hard to elevator pitch. You can't explain it quickly. You gotta be like, all right, here's the full quest, and then you do this piece, and then this thing happens, and it only happens this way, and blah, blah, blah. And you gotta do that for each piece, and every class gets one.
Yeah, let me quickly tell you the Lord of the Rings on this elevator ride. By the way, it's a 3-story building. Good luck.
No, if the Angoro quests are the Hobbit the book, and then in Stormwind they're Hobbit the movie trilogy. That's what we're dealing with here.
Well, hold on. That also that brings in a question of quality. More is not always worse, as was the case with the Hobbit films.
That's true.
Yeah. Anyways, but yeah, we've got a link to the full Ixar AMA as recanted by Out of Cards, so go check that out. It's in the show notes, which you can find at theangrychicken.com. Look for the episode 427 post. Scroll down to the bottom, you'll see a Google Docs link. That's where you find the show notes. Now, before we move on and we start talking about Stormwind legendaries and also archetypes that we are excited about / think might actually be a thing, we have a sponsor to thank today, and that is Raycon. That is right there, back sponsoring this episode of The Angry Chicken. You can check them out over at buyraycon.com/TAC. You can get the same earbuds that I use, that Joce uses. Just go check them out, because, when the world gets too loud, something I love to do is create my own soundtrack by popping in my Raycon wireless earbuds. I actually legitimately built my own soundtrack with help from Twitter this weekend because I did a thing I haven't done in a very long time. And it's not even just because of COVID. I just got busy there for a while. I haven't been to a concert in over 2 years. I don't know if you've ever listened to every other word that ever came out of my mouth on a podcast, but I really like pop punk, emo, ska, anything punk adjacent. It's kind of my jam. I don't know if you notice I have a faux hawk now, audio listeners. I haven't had a faux hawk since Good Charlotte was top 40, but I've got one again. And this weekend I went to the Hella Mega Tour. I saw Weezer for the first time. I saw Fall Out Boy. I saw my favorite band in the world, Green Day.
Yay!
And I went on Twitter. I was like, yo, driving to this, I need a playlist. Send me one of your favorite songs of these three bands. Everyone cheated and sent multiple songs. But
I sent one.
Joce knows how to follow rules.
Yeah, rules are there for a reason, like 7 minions.
Yeah. And so made a playlist. Let me tell you, I was doing dishes today, popped my little Raycon earbuds in. So I didn't want to disturb my dogs or Katie, who was working on a really tedious project. And I put on my Hella Mega Mix. That's what I called it. I was just jamming out with my Raycon earbuds. It's wonderful. Love it. Josh, do you like yours? Do you have fun? Do you enjoy your Raycons?
I absolutely do. And the thing that always gets me with the Raycons is the sound quality. So I was up at my cottage this weekend and I was listening to, because it's like a big open area. So I had my Raycons in and I was trying to study and everyone else was talking and stuff. And I couldn't hear, as soon as I popped them in, couldn't hear a thing that everyone was talking about. And I was just sitting there, funny that you mentioned it earlier, Garrett, listening to the Lord of the Rings soundtrack. And I realized as I was sitting there studying that in some of the tracks, specifically at the beginning of the Fellowship soundtrack, there's this really subtle little hands on a drum type beat in the background. And I was like, I have literally in the literally 20 years since this movie has come out, I have never heard this little drum beat going on. And it's so quiet and so subtle, but my Raycons picked it up and I was like, damn, I have been listening to this for 20 years and never heard that. So the sound quality on those things is amazing. And I couldn't even listening to instrumental Lord of the Rings music, couldn't hear anything else that was going on in the cottage. So yeah, they are phenomenal earbuds. I love them.
That's amazing. And now I want you to go watch Lord of the Rings while wearing your Raycon earbuds. Well, folks, you should go check them out. Raycons have a 32-hour battery life. They start at half the price of other premium audio brands, and they come with a 45-day happiness guarantee. So you really can't lose. Go give them a try. Create your own soundtrack with Raycon. Right now, Angry Chicken listeners can get 15% off their Raycon order at buyraycon.com/TAC. That's buyraycon.com/TAC to save 15% off Raycons. Again, it's buyraycon.com/TAC. We thank them for their support. And now let's get right back into talking Stormwind stuff, specifically the legendaries we haven't already covered on the program, which means we're starting with Demon Hunter and specifically their quest line. I was going to sing the final countdown, but it's actually the final showdown.
That was almost as good.
Almost.
I got Gorilla's Feel Good Inc. vibes there.
Ooh, I'm going to take that as the highest compliment I could have possibly asked for. But the final showdown is the 1-mana legendary Demon Hunter quest line. The starter quest line is to draw 4 cards in 1 turn. The reward is reduce the cost of the cards drawn by 1. Then you go on the next quest line, which is gain momentum, draw 5 cards in 1 turn. Reward, reduce the cost of the cards drawn by 1. Then close the portal. It's the final leg of this. Quest line, draw 5 cards in 1 turn. Your reward is Demon Slayer Kurtrus. And if you're wondering what the hell Demon Slayer Kurtrus is, well, Kurtrus is a 5-mana 7/7 with a battle cry that reads, for the rest of the game, cards you draw cost 2 less. All right. So we need to draw 14 cards total, which normally I'd go, I don't think this is going to work, but soul fragments are still in the game, and that counts as 2 draws.
Okay.
Not as exciting as far as the reduction reward, But again, if you want to finish this quest line, you got to draw 14 cards. So I think you take the draws where you can get them. And so I'm looking at you, Soul Fragments. What do y'all think?
I mean, Demon Hunter does draw a lot of cards, but this is still asking a little bit. I mean, you're drawing one from your natural draw that counts as within your turn, right? So then like you can skull into the first part of your quest line. That'll give you natural draw, 3 from Skull of Gul'dan. So that's your 4. So that's complete. But then once you get up to the 5 in a turn, you have to do that twice. Then it gets, I think, a little bit difficult. I mean, I guess this is kind of like combo enably because you are getting a mana reduction alongside this. So, I mean, any Demon Hunter that wants to draw a lot of cards anyway, this is probably a good thing. But I don't know. This seems like asking a whole lot without giving you too much of a payoff. Am I missing something here, Hat?
I'm missing something. What is the point of this card? What is the point of this quest line? That is what I am missing. So I think the quest lines in general are really interesting, and I find it fascinating that we are starting with what seems at a table read without playing with the cards seems to be the worst one.
Yeah.
Because this does ask a lot of you, and most of the time in Hearthstone and card games in general, if you're drawing a lot of extra cards, you're good. You kind of win those games. So what this quest is telling me is we're playing Glide. We are playing the card Glide. We are plot twisting through our deck a bunch of times because Glide will guarantee each time you play it, even if it's not Outcast, will guarantee trip the quest. Will make you progress to the next stage. And they have kind of this Demon Hunter draw a bunch of cards per turn archetype with Irebound Brute, which is the 6/7 taunt that gets cheaper for each card you drew this turn, and the weapon, the 2 health weapon that has 1 attack for each card you've drawn this turn. But again, if you're drawing a bunch of cards, use those cards and point them at the opponent and then make them go away. That's what you do with those cards. So I am not really sure what we do here. And Demon Slayer Kurtrus is a 5 mana 7/7. For the rest of the game, cards you draw cost 2 less. If you're looking at the current combo DH decks, the current OTK Demon Hunter decks, this quest reward that you have to work so hard for is objectively worse than Skull of Gul'dan. Because you have to play the 5-drop, and then it doesn't do anything except be a 7/7 in your deck, which has no other minions that you play for board, and you don't draw the cards right away. Whereas Skull of Gul'dan is a Demon Hunter quest line where, like, step 1, 2, and 3 of the quest is play a Demon Hunter deck, and then you play it, and then you win because it's Skull of Gul'dan. So I don't really know where this one is supposed to go. It is by far the hardest class for me to figure out because it looks like the Demon Hunter set this expansion is not that great and not that cohesive. And this quest in particular, I'm sure that I'm going to sound really stupid in a week when there's something super broken being done with this. I don't get it. And as much as I like Soul Fragments, I don't know if that's reliable enough to be an answer here. So I don't really know where we're supposed to go with this.
Cool. So I'm not out of my mind because this card seems bad.
It seems so hard to make work, and I don't know what the payoff is, and it's dependent entirely on packing your deck with draw spells and then just randomly gliding away your hand when you've been drawing cards all game and then resetting your hand to 4, and I don't want to do that. I'm good.
Yeah. Yeah. It seems strange to me. But again, it's just, I'm also kind of have that apprehension that you have of, I feel like a lot of us are going to be eating crow at some point because there's just something about this that inherently scares me. And yet, I'm like afraid while yawning, I guess, is a good way to describe this one.
It's more power to the people that are going to try and make this work. And if your Cornelius Rome lives, more power to you. I don't know what to do with this.
All right, well, let's move on and talk about, I keep wanting to call this Joce Darkweaver, but it's Jace. It's Jace Darkweaver. They should have just named it Joce, just to troll one, Jocelyn Carney. Anyways, Jace Darkweaver is the legendary minion for Demon Hunters. Jace is an 8 mana 7/5 battle cry. Cast all fell spells. You've played this game. Targets enemies if possible. There's quite a few Fel spells that are standard legal at the moment. We're getting 2 new ones. Fel Barrage, which is the 2-mana deal. Where's Fel Barrage? Let me show it for the video audience. Where'd you go? There you go. 2 mana, deal 2 damage to the lowest health enemy twice, as well as Chaos Leech, which is a 3 mana lifesteal, deal 3 damage to a minion, outcast, deal 5 instead.
So if these spells are cast by Jace, so for Chaos Leech specifically, would it be lifesteal, deal 3 damage to a minion? Or if you cast the outcast version, will it do 5?
I don't know.
I mean, not that it really makes it that big of a difference. I still don't think this is great, but
I lean towards it would do 3.
It would do 3. That would be my guess as well.
I think pretty much every time there's been a third-party source of casting outcast cards, they have not been outcast. Like, I can't remember ever, like, puzzle boxing or Solarian priming into Skull and getting the discount or whatever. I remember it always being the other way. But because this casts the same spells you played this game, then I there's a chance that if you played it outcast originally, it could outcast again.
Yeah, but
But
it doesn't necessarily change what the spell is. You know what I mean? It's not like greater Chaos Leech when you play it when it's outcast or something like that. So I think it would just be 3 damage, but
audio listeners, I shrugged. We're doing a lot of really audio intense content here.
Yeah.
Who knows? I don't know. This one also feels not done yet, but it's clear where they're going here, right? Like eventually they will print more Fel spells. Theoretically, they will be good, and then you play this one's like a Zul'jin and Hunter back in the day, and then that's good. And the cards that we have here aren't terrible, but it's not a deck, right? We don't have a deck here yet, but we at least see where they're going here, and there will be a point where you play this, and then your opponent dies or knows they're dead next turn, and I can see it. You know, it's if this hits a bunch of Chaos Strikes and Furies, and you get your meta back if you want to play meta for whatever reason, and Fel Barrage can go face. So if you clear the enemy board with the Jace like hitting I-beams and Chaos Leeches and whatever, then the Fel Barrage will just dome them. This could be a finisher in a kind of, you know, Soul Demon Hunter 2.0 if you have a bunch of stuff that gives your character I think there's something here. I don't think that we have something to set yet, but maybe in the mini set, maybe next set, maybe next year when the good Demon Hunter cards rotate out. I don't know.
Could there ever be some sort of situation where you play Philosophy and you want like 4 copies played in a game to do some super ultra mega combo?
I'd be surprised if that was the way to go, but I'm not gonna say no. I'm not gonna say no. The real question here is...
I'm reaching.
Yeah, listen, you're trying to think of the Demon Hunters out there, sending out the olive branch. I appreciate it, Josh. You're being the bigger person. The real
I'm trying
question
to get in their heads.
The thing about this card is what you were competing with. And what every Demon Hunter big card will be competing with for the next year is Illidari Inquisitor, also known as Green Rag. You have to be better than that card. Like, you must be that good to ride. And this is not. This is worse.
So you're not saying Fel yes, you're saying Fel maybe?
Fel no.
So, okay. Fun fact, related, that every time I see this card, I think of AC/DC, except instead of Hell Spells, it's Fel Spells. Every single time, I'm like, Fel Spells! And it's just like, that's just in my head, and it's not going anywhere.
Well, great. Now I'll be humming that guitar riff for the rest of the night.
Now that's in everyone's
Thank
head.
you.
Oh,
Thank
you're
you
so
much.
upset, I'm sure.
I just saw my first concert in 2 years. I have a lot of songs caught in my head right now, so if you could just take a step back with the musical references, I would appreciate it. Keep them coming. It's fine. All right, let's talk Druid. We already discussed Sheldras Moon Tree on episode 425. I was not here for that one, but we have yet to talk about Lost in the Park, which I just...
so
we're not
ridiculous.
we're not in very deep, but I'm already going to talk about art. I love the art on this one. It tells a great story. Guff is an idiot, and I love it. Guff is just in
You
the
must
park.
defend the squirrels.
Yep.
We have to defend the squirrels.
Just
which
like
is the name of a card in Hearthstone in 2021.
I just
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Anyways, Lost in the Park is the legendary questline for druids. It's 1 mana. Questline, gain 4 attack with your hero. Reward, gain 5 armor, which then goes to defend the squirrels. Gain 5 attack with your hero. Reward, gain 5 armor, and draw a card. Then Feral Frenzy. Frenzy is spelled like friend.
Friend. See?
You got a friend in me. Questline, gain 6 attack with your hero. Reward, Guff the Tough. Who is Guff the Tough, you might ask? Well, Guff the Tough is a 5 mana 8/8 with taunt, battle cry, give your hero +8 attack this turn, gain 8 armor. Guff apparently has a bear
breaking
form.
the mold. He's because all the other ones have been 5 mana 7/7s, right? And Guff's like, I'm better than that. 5 mana 8/8.
It's got the number 8 4 times on this card. There's so many.
Yeah.
Is Guff friends with Ragnaros?
Well, he is now.
I don't
No.
know. Instead of die insects, it's defend squirrels, I guess.
It's just so like it's so goofy, and like I know Hearthstone's goofy, but Lost in the Park, really? That's your grand druid quest? Like everyone else gets this big crazy quest line, and Guff's Lost in the Park. I don't
Is your
Not
issue
every
with
show
the
needs to be
narrative?
Game of Thrones here. I want to watch a sitcom.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
fine.
It is. It's totally fine, especially since it ends in Guff. I would argue on brand with our favorite Hearthstone himbo.
I guess.
But I feel like it's worth pointing out that the only new druid card that gives hero attack is Park Panther, which is a new 4 mana 4/4 in druid. It's a beast with rush and reads whenever this attacks, give your hero +3 attack this turn. So it has rush. So if there's another minion on board, you're guaranteed to get that +3 attack. But other than that, there's nothing giving attack to the druid in this set specifically.
Yep. Just the inherent hero power, which I mean, if you're trying to finish this quest with your inherent hero power, it's going to take a while. It's quite an investment.
Yes. Yes. Although you're, on the rewards, you are gaining armor for your trouble. So games are likely to go longer than your average druid game. If you are popping this reward as you go, because you're going to end getting 10 armor. Well, and then the eventual 8 if you actually play Guff the Tough.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all worth noting. But yeah, this one, there's another one that seems a little not there yet for me.
I mean, I'm going to try and play it because, I mean, it's Guff, right? Like, you have
Because
to.
you have to defend the squirrels. We have to. Who else is going to do it?
Who else is going to do it? That's a good question, because literally nobody.
Do you not have squirrels where you live? They're not that special. There's like 1 million of them out my window right now.
Yeah, they don't need defending.
Yeah, I love them. Don't get me wrong, but they're about as basic as a mosquito in Florida.
Do squirrels bite you and suck your blood?
If you go to Disney, they've been fed by too many humans. They get a little aggressive.
Oh goodness. Okay, that's terrifying. So what we're looking at here is clearly the formation of a face druid and attack myself, like attack with my own power druid, a soul
Face attack
druid,
druid, not attack face druid, because the druid's attacking with their face. They are not
Yes.
necessarily going face.
I mean, maybe they're attacking your face with their face.
They could be, but they have options.
Maybe. I don't know. So there's clearly something here, and you look at Wicker Claw as well. Like Park Panther, I think is a great card. Wicker Claw is a 2 mana 1/4 beast in this set. After your hero gains attack, this minion gains +2 attack. Note that is a permanent gain. This is a 2 mana 1/4 that permanently gets bigger. Not quite Tunnel Trog, not quite Hench Clan Thug, right in the middle. Right, but like those are 2 good cards to be in the middle of.
Yeah. Are you saying that lessons were learned from Tunnel Trog? Because I don't know if I can abide such a bold statement.
But lessons were clearly learned from Tunnel Trog. Wailing Vapor is fixed Tunnel Trog, and it is a very good card, and it is still not the same as Tunnel Trog.
Yeah.
But so like Wicker Claw, makes a lot of sense in this deck, and you play Pounce, which is in the core set, and Pharaoh Rage, which is in the core set, and Moontouch Amulet, which is in Darkwind Fair, and you can get a decent amount. It still feels like it's missing a card here and there, and there's not a lot of support for this, like early drops of when you want to play minions or whatever. The attack gains cumulatively over time, but like the rewards of gaining 5 armor, that implies that you're hitting minions with your face a bunch, and if you're spending your early turns playing a bunch of Shadow Bolts, like 3 mana, 4 attack, hit a minion, that's not very exciting. So I agree that I don't think this is there yet, but at least we know where they're going. And if all the attack on all these cards together, if it all did go face, right? The 4, the 5, and the 6 that you need for the quest line, plus the 8 from Guff. If that all went face, that's 23. 23 is a lot. So there might be foundation here for some kind of attacky, druidy deck that I don't know if it's going to be a day 1 all-star. I don't know if it's waiting for cards from the mini set, which is a phrase you'll hear a lot today. But they're clearly going for something, and the thematic presence is here in the set.
Yeah, there's also, I would say, excited rumblings about the fact that, let me, for the sake of the video audience, get my butt back to the actual reward of Guff the Tough. So Guff the Tough has Taunt, and so I have seen some excited individuals regarding copying Guff with Mark of the Spike Shell, which can also be reduced in cost by nature studies because it is a nature spell. So that is worth noting. But again, it's like we got to get to Guff in the first place. And I don't know. I don't think there's enough high attack granting cards in Druid at this moment in time.
Yeah. Though remember, it's cumulative over multiple turns. Like if you hero power on turn 2, then you only need 3 more attack for the next step. Like it grows over time, so it doesn't have to be all at once.
Yeah,
so
you don't have to. It doesn't have the one turn kind of caveat to it, like the Demon Hunter did.
Yep. So like that's still like if you're hero powering to get this going, like you said, Joce, that's not going to win a lot of games of Hearthstone. But keep in mind that we're gaining 10 armor plus 8 from Guff, like 18 armor here. You're not going to die if you're at least making partial progress here. So as long as you can offset the cost of the card in the opening hand, and Druid has a bunch of card draw, and find a way to make this game plan work with some kind of other way to end the game, because Guff is unlikely to end the game. Unlike almost all the other quest lines, this is not entering phase 2 of the game, it's finishing phase 1, which is different from what the other quest lines are doing, that they're all trying to change the game, and this is trying to say, no, I hit you for 8 and you're dead now. So like, yeah, you can do like Solar Mark of the Spike Shell and get 2 more Guffs in hand, and that'll do it. That's what Vicious Syndicate posted over on their website. Spoilers, or full disclosure, I work with them, but I think it's just a good deck list. I don't know. So you can do something like that, but it's not a game ender the way that the other quest lines seem to be trying to be.
It's weirdly right down the middle, right? Because like if you're giving your hero attack, it seems aggressive, but you're also gaining armor, so it kind of seems slow. So I don't know. It's just does seem a little strange.
Weird card.
Yeah, it's an odd one. It's an odd one. I haven't really been in love with Druid in a while though, so if this does pop off, I'm down for a new way to play. So let's keep moving right along. Again, we talked about Sheldress Moontree already. Let's get into Hunter and talk about Defend the Dwarven District. This is such a long name. The font is so delightfully tiny on the title banner. Defend the Dwarven District is the 1-mana legendary questline for Hunters. The questline starts with deal damage with 2 spells. It's deal damage with 2 spells, not deal 2 damage. And then the reward is your hero power can target minions. Spicy. We aren't even done yet. Then it's Take the High Ground. Questline, deal damage with 2 spells. Are you noticing a theme? Good. There'll be a test at the end of this episode. Reward, set the cost of your hero power to 0. The theme continues. Then Knock 'em Down is the next leg, which is questline, deal damage with 2 spells. Your reward is Tavish, Master Marksman. Tavish Master Marksman is a 5-mana, 7/7 battle cry. For the rest of the game, spells you cast refresh your hero power, which now costs 0. And can target minions.
And can target minions. Yeah. So they're all of the rewards kind of stack, I guess. This is so cool. Hero Power Hunter. I'm excited.
I
No?
really like the design of this quest a lot.
It's rad, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's almost Raza Priest. It's almost, except Tavish does say spells, not cards. Original Anduin was anytime you play any card. I know because I killed someone with Penflinger the other day and I felt like such a total jerk. This, you can't do that with minions. You have to play spells to refresh your hero power. Still really cool, and I love the building design here. And each individual quest reward feels exciting. Right? Like it's, ooh, I can kill some stuff now. Ooh, I get to do it for free now. Ooh, I get a 5-minute 7/7. Ooh, you're dead. Like that's all fun.
That is fun. Honestly, like I like the design of this a lot better than some of the other quests, because the other quests are just like when the rewards for different steps, or like in this case, everything that you do to complete the quest line is the same, but then the rewards are different. If you have to make something the same throughout the entirety of the quest, I would rather it be the quest line thing you do instead of the reward itself, because like some of those are, I mean, even the druid one that we just talked about is like gain 5 armor, gain 5 armor. Like, I don't know. This is cool though. This like changes like how you play the game, and what your deck is set to do, and what you can do with the time that is given to you. We're all about Lord of the Rings stuff now. But like,
Wow, let's go deep into Lord of the Rings, apparently. Today's episode
Like,
brought to you by Jurassic Park and Lord of the Rings.
yeah. It just is really fun and interesting, and actually changes as time goes on. So I like this a lot.
Yeah, and so it's 6 spells total, which makes me go, okay.
Like damage dealing spells, right? Because you have to
Right.
deal damage with spells, and then after that, it can be any spell.
Yeah, and that's where my jet's cool slightly, because I go, well, okay, once that's done, how many spells do I have left to really reap benefits from Tavish?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'm unsure on, and wanted to pick y'all's brain about.
I am curious to see how this plays. My favorite times, I'll echo Joss, my favorite times to play Hunter in the past have been when they tried goofy stuff with it. Spell Hunter and Secret Hunter with like Cloaked Hunters back in the day, and Mech Hunter, and all the different things they did with Hunter over the years. And this is interesting. How viable will it be? Good question. Especially on day one. Listen, if you want to do the most competitively viable thing on day one, take the Face Hunter deck you have right now and just press play. You'll probably kill a bunch of people that go Quest on 1 and Cornelius Rome on 6, and they'll be like, oh, the fun police are here. And you can relish in that and enjoy your stars, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's no judgment here.
Maybe
But
a little judgment.
okay, I can't speak for my co-host. I'm saying that I will not judge you. But this is clearly a powerful thing. It's clearly a powerful thing to do. I don't know if we have the density of damage spells yet. We're limited in draw options, which is probably by design because Hunter is limited in draw, and that's how they kind of inherently balance this effect, which would be broken in so many other classes. And so they're definitely pushing the boundary here, but Hunter's class identity will push back a little bit.
Mhm.
And I think that's cool. I think that's all right. And I don't know if it'll work or if it'll be tier 1, but I know it'll be tier fun. Huh?
Yep.
And it's also important to note that damage dealing secrets count, but not damage off minions that are summoned from spells like Demon Companion, for example.
Interesting. It makes sense, right? It does make sense
Because it's a minion doing the damage.
Still the spell. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good to know that. But so yeah, I mean, to speak to what you just mentioned, Had, about, hey, you just want to go Face Hunter and win games. I mean, you could just go Face Hunter and find a slot for this. I think there's enough damage dealing spells in there to at least tool around with this if you want to feel like you're doing something new on day one with a deck that's still going to net you wins.
I feel like they don't even care about finishing it, right? Like they just want a 0 mana 2 damage to your face, which even then, like by the time you're done, I guess you can, with the quest lines, you can finish multiple steps in one turn, right? So if you do like arcane shot, some other something, I don't know, then like you could technically finish it in one turn.
Some
and
other
just
something
get
is
the
my
0
favorite
mana.
hunter spell.
Yeah.
You could, but yeah, I'm just saying, like you could get a 0 mana hero power pretty quickly, and then that allows you to do even more damage even faster. So I mean, maybe.
And Aimed Shot is in this set, which is a super good card. It's 3 mana. Deal 3 damage, and your next hero power deals 2 more. Like, that card is super duper good. And if you have Renling's Rifle, you can just go for explosive traps multiple turns in a row. Explosive trap totally counts. And Renling's Rifle can like generate you a couple more ticks on this quest.
Which is because Rinling's Rifle is a good card.
It is
Yes,
a very
Garrett.
good card. Yes. I don't know. I'm absolutely playing this tomorrow. This looks cool as shit. Like,
Hat's assessment, cool as shit.
yeah.
All right.
Any
Well,
dissent? I'll bang the gavel.
No,
Let's go.
I think this is my favorite quest line just in terms of design and the one I'm the most excited for and I want to work. So, we already talked about Rat King. Well, you did on 425. This was the first card that I saw on social media that I just went, Katie, look at this. It's a king of rats. And she went, oh, the little rats. And that was the end of that conversation. But we're going to move into Mage, where Sorcerer's Gambit has also already been covered. If you want to hear our thoughts on Sorcerer's Gambit, go back and listen to episode 423. But we have not talked about Grand Magus? Grand Magus Antonidas. I'm just going to call him Grand Old Auntie. There we go. Grand Old Auntie is an 8-mana.
That nickname will stick.
8-mana 6/6 legendary mage minion. Battle cry. If you've cast a fire spell on each of your last 3 turns, cast 3 fireballs at random enemies, and has a wonderful little 0 out of 3 counter built right into the text of the card here. I raise an eyebrow while reading this because I go, that's a little complicated, but frankly, I applaud them for actually writing this all out.
Yeah, it's so, I mean, it's interesting. It's kind of cool design, but it's a lot of setup, but also mage fire spells are really good. So maybe we're just doing this, but I've never thought to keep track of this before. But like, I mean, 3 fireballs at random enemies, but if you can't set it up or you have a turn where you don't draw a fire spell or whatever, and you set yourself back to 0 out of 3, like, then you just have an 8-mana 6/6, and that seems really bad. I'm almost curious as to why they didn't just make him a 5/7, but maybe not 8 mana. I don't know, like, or just in line with his old stats.
I have to imagine it was something in internal testing. They were just like, 5-7 inches ain't doing it anymore.
I don't know.
We just want a little, or it's thematic with the damage of fireball.
Maybe.
Just want just all the 6s. Oh,
Yeah.
3 fireballs is the number of the beast. That's really metal. That just crossed my mind.
Oh, I just heard Bruce Dickinson's dulcet tones in my brain. You told us to stop making music references. What did you can't. You
What?
don't get to do
666
that.
is not specifically a music reference. That's a
You don't
Bible
hear the
reference.
number of the beast after you hear that number. That's not what you hear in your head.
It's a reference to a very old book. Hat.
Who reads? We're a podcast.
Boy, if this would be a great place for an Audible sponsor if Audible was a sponsor. Hey, Audible. What's up?
Be a sponsor.
Yeah. I think this is such a fun card design. I don't think it's difficult to complete. I just asked, do we want to complete? Do we care? Does this get a deck slot? I'm not so sure it does.
I think probably no, but again, like mages are doing a lot of spell things lately, and a lot of their stuff is fire. We talked so much about how terrible all of their frost spells are in the I guess the mini set when we got the draw the certain types of spells guys, the Dungeoneers, right?
I prefer draw certain types of spell guys. Let's just keep it at that.
Yeah, no, I like those.
Yeah, and like we talked about how terrible their frost stuff was, and a lot of the stuff we were saying, but all the good things are fire. So again, maybe they're doing fire things and I haven't even really noticed. I mean, like obviously fireball and combustion and flame strike, and although nobody's playing flame strike right now, but yeah, I mean maybe they're and fire sale is their tradable, right? And that's a fire spell specifically. They got 2 more as well that Garrett's now helping me out a lot and showing on screen. So
Yeah,
I
we've got
mean,
Hot Streak that is inherently a fire spell, but also makes the next fire spell you cost or this turn cost 2 less. That's 0. You combine it with another fire spell. There's 2 right there. One of them is a 0 mana spell. But again, it's like, well, do I want to be running Hot Streak?
It's not that you have to cast 3 spells. It's that you have to cast a fire spell on your last 3 turns.
Oh, that's right. My bad. Sorry.
Yeah. So it's like
Already
you need to
forgot
like
about this.
split it. Yeah, you need to split it up, right? So I don't know. But I mean, like it could be a great finisher. Like 3 fireballs is a lot of damage if you can like clear out the board of the flame strike the turn before or something. Like I don't know. And maybe.
And Paladin will be possibly summoning 2 1/1s for no mana whatsoever. So, like a possible. The reason, like, I'm cooling my jets on the. Why am I saying cooling my jets so much? I've never said that ever. But the reason.
Of all the fire?
Yeah, I'm cooling on this is the fact that like the counter is the cheapest BS you can do in the game called Hearthstone, which is play cheap, crappy minions that soak up your giant damaging fireballs. Which time will tell how much of that will actually be happening in this meta. But my interest in playing this new Antonidas rockets to the floor the more tiny minions are being either included in decks or summoned somehow.
Yeah, that's fair.
And we're helped a lot here by First Flame, which is one of the best cards in the set, and one of the reasons why I'm really excited to play Fire Mage. First Flame is 1 mana, deal 2 damage to a minion, add a second flame to your hand, which is also 1 mana, do 2 damage to a minion. They're both fire spells. Cards that have been like this in Hearthstone's history: Firefly, Ray of Frost, and Twin Slice. Quite the pedigree, all format defining. I expect First Flame will be the same. It is that good. It is incredibly flexible. It's incredibly efficient. It really helps get Tony to where you need to get Tony. You can use him on turn 10, like 2 of these if you want to clear room for Tony, or like Hot Streak, Fire Sale, Tony on turn 10 is also a good way to make sure you clear the board out. If you're already playing a ton of fire spells and you expect the game to get that late, 8 mana for a 6/6 and 3 6 damage hits is pretty crazy. Like it's a lot of it's more stuff than 8 mana should buy you. I don't know if that's useful. I don't know if our opponents will be at a low life total. And like you said, Garrett, if we have a bunch of crap in play, then this gets crap on it. Like this is crappier. So I don't know if we'll land at a point where we're playing minions in Mage. Like that's the biggest question that I actually have. Are we playing minions, period? Or are we just doing Incanter's Flow again, except with hotter stuff? But the fire cards are real. So I could see Antonidas being real just because of Hot Streak, First Flame, and Fire Sale. Those cards are all awesome. Ignite's pretty good too. And that's enough to take a hard look at anything with the word fire spell on it.
Personally, I would just like to reach a point where we actually have to call a deck Minion Mage. Like it seems really funny to me, even though I know we've had no Minion Mage for so long now, but that would endlessly make me giggle. But let's move along and talk about Pally legendaries, which I don't think we've talked about either. No, we haven't. So we're starting with Rise to the Occasion, the quest line for Paladin. It's going to cost you 1 mana like every other damn quest line. And it starts off with play 3 different 1-cost cards. Reward, equip a 1/4 Light Justice. Not the most exciting thing in the world, but then...
Terrible.
Yeah, you move on to Pave the Way, which is play 3 different 1-cost cards. The reward is upgrade your hero power. The upgrade specifically is that you will now be summoning 2 1/1 recruits for your trouble. And then you move on to Avenge the Fallen. Questline, you guessed it, play 3 different 1-cost cards. Reward, Lightborn Cariel. Lightborn Cariel is a 5 mana 7/7 with a battle cry that reads, for the rest of the game, your Silver Hand recruits have +2/+2. And you're now summoning
Yay,
2 of them.
dudes!
Yes, yay, dudes!
Yay, dudes!
3/3 dudes. 2 of them. Which means every time you hit your
turn.
hero power, it's 2 mana for 6/6 worth of stats spread across 2 bodies.
Yeah. Seems
That's
pretty
good.
good.
That's a
Yes.
powerful effect. Usually when I
Yes.
hero power, I get less than 6/6 worth of stats.
Yes. All right. I love Paladin. I love dudes. And I have concerns. All right.
All right.
All right. First of all, first day of school died for many reasons, but also this quest line. That's my first thought. And then here's my major concern. Does any deck win by playing 9 1-drops?
Well,
Flinger 9 times.
Well, no, because it's different 1-cost cards, right? So if you play 9 pen flingers, that's only 1 quest.
Yeah, actually, you don't.
right?
Yeah.
Like, you get like 1 of 3.
Paladin could get an exclusive unnerfed pen flinger and it still wouldn't help them complete this quest line.
Well, it resets every time you move a phase, right? So
Yes.
it can be you can have a pen flinger in for rise to the occasion and pave the way and avenge the fallen, and that will
Okay,
be the
that's
last
fair.
time I ever read the name of each questline phase individually ever on this podcast. But yeah, you can play the same one each time, each one. I don't know. Paladin's got a lot of stuff to enable this though.
Mhm.
Like first day of school is just an entire phase done by
Yeah.
itself. Because it doesn't say minions, it says cards.
It says cards, yeah. Does it wait? First day of school is
a 1 mana
okay,
spell.
yeah, it's 1
Yeah.
mana now. Yeah, okay.
Yep.
I was like, wait, it changed mana cost, but yeah, it changed
Yes.
to 1.
They nerfed it and they buffed it. They nuffed it.
Yeah,
They-
exactly. They nuffed it.
I'm updating the show title real quick.
Yeah. So yeah, I think like this is something that Paladin of anyone Paladin can do, and I am always going to be a fan of doing things with Paladin's hero power with the Silverhand recruits. So I mean, I'm going to try this. I don't think it's the best of all the quest lines, but I don't think it's terrible either.
Oh, I have my reservations whether or
Yeah.
not I'm actually going to like survive, especially day 1, to play that many 1 mana minions and then start winning with 3/3s. But
Yeah, and the
I'm-
one
you better
the,
believe
like,
I'm crafting
justice
this if I don't
is so
open it.
terrible.
yeah.
Oh, it's awful.
Like,
it's-
why? That's not a reward. That's almost a detriment. It's like the Light's Justice took away the quest reward.
And also, Paladin has a ton of good cheap weapons right now where we're already trying to figure out which one do I play. And this is worse than every single one we would put in our
Yeah, I'm actually concerned about completing this if I currently have a weapon equipped, which I'm Paladin, so I probably will.
Though, luckily, the nerf to Sword of the Fallen means that you swing on 2, then you swing again on 3 before you pop the quest. And nuffed again. You can't break it if it's already broken. Because we're probably playing secrets, right? Like we're just firing out some ones. Knight of Anointment into a
Yeah.
secret or whatever.
Yeah. I mean that's true, and I guess with coin, Sword of Fallen's only 2 mana though. I was gonna say like with coin and first day of school, that is round 1 done. But then even if like you do that on turn 2, and then like you're trying to get it done before you play Sword of the Fallen, like you're just never using all 4 swings of that terrible weapon. Like it is either replacing something way better, or you're getting a couple swings
Or
out of
getting-
it. If the
yeah,
game is
getting
going the way you
overwritten,
want it to
yeah.
go, right? Like if you're actually finding your good weapons on curve, then the the quest line reward for the first part of the quest line is just pointless.
But it's just a throw-in. It's
Yes.
the thing that I think we should look at here is that you don't need to go crazy with your Paladin deck to build like 21 cost cards or whatever. You could even, a crazy idea that I had, you can just play Aldor Attendant and Libram of Wisdom. And Libram of Wisdom keeps if it's 1 mana, like that keeps ticking each phase of the quest. I don't think this is going to be difficult to complete. And I don't think that you have to go really all that crazy in building your deck around it. Like maybe you bias a little bit more towards ones. The second stage here, where your hero power is 2/1/1 recruits, that's pretty good, especially with the amount of dude synergy there is. And obviously, we can all agree the final reward here is game ending. It's Jiraxis, right? You just get Jiraxis forever.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good point. Like, this is the first one where I'm like, why do you cost any mana to play? I guess is my last like reservation. It's just like, I want to drop Eldor Attendant on 1, but then I'm not getting a tick on my rise to the occasion.
They don't want Paladin to be broken for an entire expansion again.
But I do.
I'm good if they're not.
Yeah, I'm all set.
Tough crowd.
Yeah.
I will smite all of you. Just so you know. All right. Well, we also need to talk about the new legendary minion in Paladin, which is High Lord 4-dragon, a 6-mana 5/5 with Divine Shield, and reads after a friendly minion loses Divine Shield, give a minion in your hand +5/+5.
Bubble Pally.
I love it. I love it.
The numbers here are ridiculous, right? Like, this is just so many stats. And they put Righteous Protector in the game. It's
And okay, so High Lord has Divine Shield, so when he loses Divine Shield himself, that's a 5/5 buff to your hand, right? So even if you don't have any other Divine Shield minions, he's gonna buff something in your hand +5/+5 just by himself.
Yes.
That's pretty good.
And
Get your transformations
awesome.
ready.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to turn this into a frog.
This card seems very strong to me. Like, I understand it pushes people a little bit later in the game, a little bit more mid-rangey, but it's so good with Goody 2 shields. It's so good with Devout Pupil. And the amount of Divine Shield density you can get in Standard right now, you can get so much Divine Shield in Standard. Plus Noble Steed, the Paladin mount, 2 mana, gives a minion +1/+1 in Divine Shield, and then it drops a 1/1 Divine Shield. That's +10/+10. That's a lot for 2 mana.
Yeah. This guy, I feel like High Lord is good. I like this.
My review of the Paladin legendaries is that I pray that I open both of them, because otherwise I'm out of a lot of dust. Day 1. I am not waiting. This is what I'm doing tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow's day 1. I keep forgetting.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to play everything. I'm going to play it all.
It's a lot. It is a lot. Well, we already talked about Priest legendaries, both of them. In fact, if you want to hear about Seek Guidance, we talked about it on 425, and Dark Bishop Benedictus on episode 423. So let's get to the next hour of the show and talk about Just Rogue. Starting with Find the Imposter. 1 mana quest line, play 2 SI7 cards. Reward, add a spy gizmo to your hand. Might be asking yourself, what the hell is a spy gizmo? And it's a lot of various cards. Undercover Mole is one of them. It's a 1 mana 2/3 that has stealth. After this attacks, add a random card to your hand from your opponent's class. Oh, also it's a beast. Forgot to mention that. Hidden Gyroblade, 1 mana 3/2 weapon. Death Rattle, throw this at a random enemy minion, which, that's great.
I love that.
Yep, it is.
The flavor is great there.
Lovely.
This reminds me of Reno's Poof. The amazing Reno. It's just like, it's a very descriptive, and you know exactly what happens when you read this. And they could have written this another way, but this is better.
Yeah.
Noggin Fog Generator, 1 mana, give a minion +2 attack and stealth. This feels like a spare part. That's what this feels like.
Except the +2 attack is permanent.
That's true. That is true. Spy-O-Matic, a 1 mana 3/2 mech with a battle cry that reads, look at 3 cards in your opponent's deck, pick 1 to put on top. That's just evil.
Yep.
And then Fizz Flash Distractor. How did you not name this Fizzle Flash Distractor? 1 mana, return an enemy minion to its owner's hand. They can't play it next turn. I am going to yell terrible things at you when you play this card against me.
This is the best one by a large margin.
I hate this card.
Very good.
I am already calling for the nerf of this card, and it's not even playable yet.
Let me play with it first.
Well, they're all very, very powerful because they all cost 1 mana, and the stuff they do for 1 mana, like a 3/2 weapon for 1 mana, even if it did nothing else, That's crazy.
Yeah, these minions.
They're all OP.
You got to work hard for these. And so the use case for each of these is highly variant, and they're not always all going to be good except for Fizz/Distractor, unless your opponent is just not playing minions, in which case, like, whatever, I guess, I don't know. But they'll have a minion.
In most
but
cases, if they're
sometimes-
not playing minions, things are going well for you.
Yeah. And, like, sometimes you're not going to need a 1-mana Shaku Beast Mole thing. And sometimes you're not going to need a 1-mana 3/2 and, pick the top card of your opponent's deck or whatever. They're all solid in undercosted for 1 mana. But you're not getting these unless you are progressing the quest by building your deck in a very particular way, of playing cards with the letters and numbers and punctuation. Without SI7 in the card name, you're not getting these.
Yeah, it's exactly what it sounds like too. This is playing cards like SI7 Agent, SI7 Infiltrator, SI7 Extortion. Is that it? But yes, that's what
There's
you
a lot
do.
of them.
And we haven't even talked about the progression of it. So after you complete the first quest line, you move on to Learn the Truth, which is again to play 2 SI7 cards. The reward is yet another Spy Gizmo added to your hand. Somewhere there's a paladin going, I'm sorry, how did I end up with Light's Justice? How? But neither here nor there. And then you move on to Marked a Traitor questline. Play 2 SI7 cards. Rewards, Spy, Master, Scabs. Spy, Master, Scabs. God, Scabs looks so cool. They made a gnome look cool. Scabs is a 5-mana 7/7 battle cry. Add 1 of each Spy Gizmo to your hand. So just... there you go. 5 cards in hand. They all do pretty rad things, and one of them,
And they all cost 1.
is Fizz/Distractor.
Yeah.
This seems good. Hat
like
is
Rogue.
just smiling.
I know. I'm like, oh, I feel like Hat has something to say, and then it's just, this is
Yes.
good. I like Rogue.
Can it be tomorrow yet? That's what I want to say. I want to do this to people.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they printed some of the SI7 cards are a little sketchy. Some of them are real good.
Some of
The
them are
one in
super
particular-
good.
I bet you both can guess the one I'm excited for. One of the SI7 cards in particular, I'm very excited for. It kills things. It's a Vile Spine Slayer.
Ah, okay. I was like, wait, it kills things. So the assassin?
So it's a 7-mana 4/4, costs 1 less for each SI7 card you've played this game, which includes itself in combo destroy an enemy minion. Vile Spine Slayer is one of my favorite cards ever from back in Angoro, back in my day. And I still have my golden copies. And I was excited to recently play with the new version of that called Prize Plunder, which basically feels the same thing. But this is actually just kill a thing. And if you like, you can get to keep shadow stepping it and keep using it or 10-wooing it or whatever. And I already want to play a bunch of S7 cards, and then I want to do the quest stuff. And then I feel like the hot take I'm gonna have, this is the real quest reward of being able to kill minions and make 4/4s really cheap. And the Spy Gizmos are like throw-ins. And then eventually I get to Scabs maybe, or I just kill my opponent because I get to play like a 4-mana 4/4 that kills their thing.
Yeah.
Seems
Seems
good.
good. I think I'm going to be really mad at rogues. I'm not going to lie. Like, even maybe
yeah.
more so than demon hunters. But then
not
they
gonna-
also have a card that's a shark with a bag of treasure on his back. So
Yeah.
how bad can I actually get at rogues?
I actually,
It's a lone shark.
Yeah.
Get it? It's a shark, like an actual shark, but also the term loan shark. It's a pun.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Which only gets funnier when you explain them.
Yes.
So, Joce, I know you're thinking that you may be more mad at Rogue than Demon Hunter, but what if I told you Rogue will start as a Demon Hunter potentially?
Oh man, this is the most shenanigans I think Hearthstone has ever shenaniganed, and I love it. Like, it's so ridiculous.
It's pretty absurd. I'm trying to, I don't know, throw a dart at a Yogg card, and that might be the most shenanigans. But
Maybe.
yeah, Maestra of the Masquerade is a 2-mana 3/2 legendary rogue minion that reads, you start the game as a different class until you play a rogue card. Not until you play a card, until you play a rogue card. So you can play neutrals
Neutrals, yeah.
and continue being a bastard.
And your hero power, your disguise sneaky hero power, the new one that you get, it works. Like if you're a demon hunter, you can press on turn 1. If you're a paladin, you can make a 1/1. And if you play like discover or generate spells before you take the mask off, I'm pretty sure that you get the fake class and not rogue cards.
Mm,
Pretty sure. Because as far as the game is concerned, until you play a rogue card, you are that class.
that's nuts.
Yeah, this is one of the coolest cards, I think, in the history of this game. Just full
Have you
stop.
seen the effect? Like the visual effect? It's
No.
it's pulling the mask off, and it's Dominic. He's the same artist that did Soul Mirror, and he does that same like swooshy line, except it's like the class like pauses, and then it's like whoosh, and it just comes off. It's so cool.
Well, in the art
I like Rogue.
of Maestra, there's like they look like head on spikes, but the eyes are missing. So they're like masks behind Maestra of, it looks like Uther, Garrosh, and Sylvanas. So you've got the Paladin hero, the Warrior hero, and an alternate Hunter hero represented. It's rad. It's freaking rad. This is so cool.
Yeah, she is so awesome.
God.
But banned in competitive play already.
Yep.
I'm just never going to watch competitive Hearthstone again. They're flipping coins and getting rid of fun cards. Why should I watch? I'm out.
If you open this card, it's cool. Feel free to play it. This is not a card you should craft for competitive viability. That's not what it's for. It's super cool. I will probably craft one also not for competitive viability purposes, but because Rogue is my jam. But if you want to win more and you're rationing your dust for that, unfortunately, Maestra is not on that list. But she's cool.
Do not craft this card. I am crafting this card is, I think, our collective review of Maestra of the Masquerade.
Yes.
Cool. Well, let's move on and talk about Shaman. That went quicker than I thought. I thought we were going to spend a little more time. The gizmos went quicker than I assumed they would. Anyways, let's talk about Command the Elements. This is the Shaman questline, 1 mana, as they all are. Questline starts with play 3 cards with Overload. Reward, unlock your overloaded mana crystals. So this doesn't all have to be in one turn. So that unlocks power is going to vary. The mileage is going to vary on that unlock, depending on how many overloaded crystals you just happen to have that turn when you complete this. The next leg of it is Stir the Stones. Questline, play 3 cards with Overload. Reward, summon a 3/3 elemental with Taunt. And the final leg of the questline is to play 2 cards with Overload. This actually gets easier as it goes along. Reward, Stormcaller Brucon. Well, what does Stormcaller Brucon do? Besides being totally freaking rad art, Stormcaller Brucon is a 5-mana 7/7 with a battle cry that reads, for the rest of the game, your spells cast twice. Saucy.
Saucy.
Yeah. That is a powerful effect.
It is quite good. I think this questline is good. I want to play Overload cards. I want to unlock my overload of mana crystals. I wouldn't mind a 3/3 elemental with Taunt. And I definitely want my spells to cast twice.
I like it.
Anyone have any? Is there any reason to believe this isn't good?
Well, I think we were talking a little bit because of overdraft, right? So I think we'd been talking about just shamans in general and do they want to do overloady things. So this is something else that leans a little bit more into their like class identity stuff, which I think is good. I think the more direction that they go down to make the classes feel unique, the better Hearthstone feels as a game. So, I mean, I like that Overload is going to be played with and has the unlocking feature, which we've kind of been missing for a while. So, you know, I think Overload is a fun mechanic and an interesting mechanic. So I'm glad that that's what the shaman quest like revolves around, and that it's not like revolve or evolve or devolve or whatever. Like this is a mechanic that I'm glad to see more of, instead of just random shenanigan craziness.
Yep. And you're probably not playing Elemental Shaman with this. You just aren't going to have the room if you're packing your deck with Overload spells. And I have questions about if a deck that is full of Overload spells can do all the well, not spells, cards. And you're probably
Cards,
going
yeah.
Doomhammery, like you're probably getting pretty Doomhammery because double casting Rockbiters and Storm Strikes is what you want to be doing here. So you're probably not going to have room for full on like the Arid Storm or Elemental thing. You'll probably end up more of like a Novice Zapper and Landslide and that sort of thing. You'll play the new Elemental, the Canal Slogger, which is one of the better cards in the set. The 4-mana 6/4 Elemental with Rush, Lifesteal, and Overload 1. It's a big boy. The quest is the individual steps here aren't super great because Shaman is already pretty well adapted to managing Overload. And the reward for the first leg of the quest is you get to be like any of the other 9 classes in Hearthstone where you just pay the number in the corner and that's how much the spell costs. And so like you get to do that and everybody else is already doing that. So I don't know if it's that exciting. And the second reward here, it just feels like weird. Like who decided this was where this thing needed to happen? The second reward here, you just get a 3/3 elemental with taunts. Like did they design a different quest and then leave that in and then rebuild the rest of it? Because it doesn't. I don't really follow why we're getting a 3/3 with taunt. I'm not upset about it, but it's why is this
It
happening?
doesn't
right
fit
now?
the theme. It's
Hey,
like they started making an elemental quest and then fixed everything else in it and forgot to change that reward.
Okay, this two things. A, I said 2 and then I went with the letter. It's better than
2A.
Light's Justice, and the
Yes.
literal name of the card is Command the Elements.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
it's fine. You get it with taunt. It's fine.
I'm not upset about the throw in Iron for Grizzly. Just like why here, why now? And I don't have great answers for that. I don't know.
Literally,
like,
and then it's
obviously
called Stir the
Stormcaller
Stones,
becomes-
and it's a living earth elemental. It's a rock elemental. Like I don't see the issue.
It's fine. It's 3/3. Enjoy your 3/3.
Or
a 3/3
is
and
it
you
a
get a
hint of
3/3.
something to come? Are we going to be looking at an Overload Elemental Shaman next set or 2 sets from now?
Who knows?
Because the only new Overload minion we got is a damn elemental as well. So it also makes me raise an eyebrow if you're going to focus on that so much. So all I know is Lightning Bloom is still playable. So I think there's hope for Command the Elements.
Oh yeah, doesn't seem bad. It's a different shaman deck than we had before in Joce, like you said. Different shaman decks, different ways to play the same class makes Hearthstone a more fun game.
Indeed.
Agree.
Speaking of a different way to play the shaman class,
Shutterwalk's back.
yes,
Let's talk about Bolner Hammerbeak. I'm going to just refer to this as Hammerbeak so I don't mispronounce it. 2 mana, 1/4 legendary minion. After you play a Battlecry minion, repeat the first Battlecry played this turn.
I'm going to mess up the order on this stuff so much.
Oh, yeah. So this is repeatable, but it only repeats the first Battlecry played this turn. So it doesn't matter what other Battlecries you start playing. The Battlecry that's being repeated was the first Battlecry that you played in said turn.
Yes. Which in of itself is not a battle cry. This is a persistent effect as long as he's on the board.
Yeah. I'm not going to call anyone out by name, but I did ask someone, hey, does this retain targets? And I was ghosted so hard it ain't even funny.
I would guess targeting is random if it's a targetable thing. That would be my guess. I can't say for sure, but that would be where I would land.
I would ask that be specified in card text, but unfortunately I'm playing Hearthstone.
But we don't
discovery.
have novels on our cards here, Garrett.
Excuse me, do we want to go
hold
back
on.
to Antonitis?
Would you rather have random targeting, unclear text box, or Light's Justice?
I will take any of them over the Light's Justice.
All right, then we're gonna stick with what we have right here. And also, as a point, this is kind of a brand too, because when you just play this with one other battle cry, it counts right away. So if you go turn 5, a Bolner Primal Dungeoneer, I hope you like drawing 4 cards because that's probably what just happened.
Sure.
I mean, I don't know. Do you not like drawing 4 cards?
I like drawing 4 cards. quite a bit. Hopefully drawing 4 cards.
Yeah.
But I want to know if I can get Alex Strauss shenanigans going for lethal. And I don't have the answer to that question because I don't know if targets are randomized.
I see where you're going now.
So,
isn't
you know the
she
OTK
9?
though, right?
Oh, but
Yeah,
I guess
you
he
bloom it.
lives.
You
Oh,
bloom
yeah,
it.
bloom.
So there is an OTK. So if you go Bolner, Bloom, Yasharaj, and you get back 1 Dunk Tank and 1 Circus Medic, and the Circus Medic repeats the Yasharaj, and then you Dunk Tank either your opponent's face or your own Circus Medic if you need board space, and then you keep going until somebody dies, preferably your opponent.
Yes. Which makes me also lean towards randomized targets.
Well, that OTK has no targets because you target with the Circus Medic and you target with the Dunk Tank, but the battle cry being repeated is the Yasharaj, which
That's right.
corrupted 0 stuffs.
You are
0
correct.
cost cards.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
yes.
So that is totally a Shutterwalk thing. Like it is a animation dense eventual kill. So I don't know if that's going to be good, but prepare yourself emotionally for that to be a thing people try on day 1.
Emotionally prepare yourself is good advice. Okay.
I feel like that's just good advice for day 1 of a new expansion period. Whether you're trying the good, fun, crazy stuff and you get face huntered, or if somebody randomly pulls off an OTK out of Hammerbeak like that's very, reminiscent of Shutterwalk. Like, just emotionally prepare yourself for launch day is just good advice.
I think being a realist is a good trait if you are a day 1 Hearthstone expansion player. If you just accept the reality that certain people are just going to be slamming face hunter games until the cows come home, but also accept the reality that some people are going to be trying wild things that you're going to have absolutely no idea how to get a read on the situation. And you may just die out of nowhere from hopefully at least something spectacular.
Yeah. Just like assume that you were in a Trollden video and
At all times.
and just be happy about your stardom. Don't be upset about your loss.
You want to hear my one run-in with Trollden story?
Yes.
I don't remember which BlizzCon this was, but shocker, Katie, Jocelyn, and I were drinking somewhere. I think it was the Marriott. And I was coming back from the bar with beverages to find you guys again, and bumped into Trollden, exchanged pleasantries, and he got straight to it and went, "Can I touch your hair?" And of course, the answer was yes. And that was it. Then we went on our merry ways. Trollden pet my hair, and then I went and continued partying with my friends.
I don't know if you even told me that.
Yeah, it was.
Or if you did, I did not remember.
I probably told you that night, but it was probably in between everyone going woo and
me wooing, never.
I was talking about me, but sure, fair. Anyway, that's that. I like Bolner Hammerbeak to get us back on track here. I think this is a very powerful effect, even if, like, let's say OTKs don't pan out. This is a powerful effect with a lot of possibilities.
Yeah, he's cool.
Yep. But now, go full DJ Khaled. Another run. And you see, it's like another one, but like you do another run. Talk about next.
I need a little more emphasis.
Like, I don't know what's happening.
To me, you became a mumble rapper, which I'm like, that's DJ Khaled isn't a mumble rapper. What are you doing?
Well, I had to mumble for the joke to work. It didn't land. We'll move past it. It's fine.
So we're going to talk about Anetheron.
Anetheron.
Oh, I get it now.
As we move into Warlock, as a reminder, we already talked about the questline Demon Seed on episode 423. You can hear our thoughts there. But Anetheron is a 6-mana 8/8 legendary Warlock demon. Costs 1 if your hand is full. Boy, could they have put it in a class that has a harder time having a full hand.
I think this is neat. Anything that's playing around with hand size in Warlock is neat to me, whether it's viable. different conversation, but it's neat.
Yeah. I mean, it just seems good. Is 8/6 that you're probably gonna pay less than 6 mana for?
It's Handlock got a bizarrely huge amount of stuff this set. Like, so much stuff. They got a 4 mana make a minion equal to your hand size, and they got 6 mana deal damage to all other minions equal to your hand size, and they got the neutral Spice Bread Baker, which heals equal to your hand size, and they got Mithril, which makes your whole hand cheaper, and a lot of survival spells. They got a lot of stuff. There's a lot going on here for Warlock.
Mhm.
Like, they basically said, hey, you miss Handlock? Here's the entire deck in this expansion.
I do miss Handlock, and I am excited about all of the facts that you just mentioned.
I'm kind of curious why he's not an 8/8 with some other like mana cost. Like just like looking at what Handlocked looked like way back in the day, the Molten Giant days. I don't know. It's so close to the right like feeling, but just a little bit off. Should be an 8/8 if nothing else.
It's definitely like they don't want there to be a point where you get to play this on turn 3 or 4 and then it doesn't die for 2 turns and then you lose the game. 6 versus 8, 2 or 3 drops can kill this thing. And so it probably gets to hit once, but don't view that as a bug, view that as a feature. That's definitely what they wanted to happen, because if there's ever a world where this is getting played early, it needs to have some kind of safety valve. It needs to be able to die when someone is against it with minions, as opposed to just hitting you in the face and the game being over.
Yeah, and if it's multiple resources, it's still a win for the Warlock, because you just soaked up multiple resources with a single card.
If this costs 1, this is better than most 1-drops. I'm going to go ahead and say it. All 1-drops is better than all 1-drops. Like, it's clearly a good...
boldest statements from RidiculousHat on today's episode of TAC.
I'm just throwing it out there.
Just, wow. You need to calm down. Okay, we are going to lose subs over how completely far you're reaching.
Controversial yet brave, I know.
8/6 is a good 1-drop. How dare you? I didn't come here for hyperbole. All right, I'm done. Yeah. Seems good, and Handlock seems good, therefore this card seems good, is my review.
I think that's fair.
Yep. We're not building around this. We're building around the other Handlock cards, but we obviously play this in Handlock.
Yeah.
I look at the legendary gem as a controlling feature of this. If I could put 2 of these in my Handlock deck, that would be horrifying. So I'm excited about Netheron. I'm also excited about Raid the Docks as we get into Warrior. Raid the Docks is the questline for Warriors. 1 mana questline, play 3 pirates, reward, draw a weapon, which goes to create a distraction. Questline, play 2 pirates, reward, deal 2 damage to a random enemy twice, which goes to secure the supplies. I just realized there's a straight up Captain Morgan stance here on Pirate Rokara. Questline, play 2 pirates, reward Captain Rokara, and Captain Rokara is well dressed, as well as a 5 mana 7/7 pirate battle cry, summon the Juggernaut. It has an exclamation point. I wasn't just trying to blow out your ears. You may be out there, like I was when I first read this card, wondering what the hell is the Juggernaut? Well, the Juggernaut is one of those fancy permanent board minions, yes?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's an uninteractable thing.
Yeah.
Like Nether Portal or the other
Dormant
portal.
minions.
Yes.
Yeah, you cannot do anything to the Juggernaut. It has no stats. It just is on the board for the rest of time.
Would you say that nothing can stop the Juggernaut?
Oh, I would now.
Well, now you're making me think of something else that I don't want to say. But the Juggernaut reads, start of your turn, summon a pirate, equip a warrior weapon, and fire 2 cannons that deal 2 damage.
Can I say it? Can I say it?
Yeah.
Holy ship! I put that in the show notes.
Yeah, and so I mean, I didn't hear too much. I was away on vacation last week. I didn't hear too much about, just Hearthstone cards or quest lines in general, except this one. And Orange said that he thinks that this is like 5 stars, amazing, like meta breaking greatness. So I look forward to our new Juggernaut overlords because I am not going to go against Orange. I have been around long enough to know that's a bad call.
Yeah, I'm with Orange on this. Like, play pirates. Warrior has a lot of pirates right now. Warrior has a lot of good pirates right now. Hell, Neutral has a lot of pirates and a lot of decent pirates at that as well. There's a lot of freaking pirates.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think this quest line is out of the realm of particularly difficult possibility to complete.
And then you're just like every single turn, you're getting a minion summoned from that, pool of stuff that's already pretty good and is probably going to synergize well with whatever is in your deck because you're probably going to want more pirates in your deck than what you're needing to complete the quest just for consistency's sake. Then you're getting a weapon as well. Weapons are generally good things. And you're also with cannons. Like, who doesn't want to with cannons? I do.
It's true.
This is amazing.
That is the sound that cannons make.
Yeah.
Yes. And the weapon pool is pretty small. I watched some of the theory crafting VODs, and what stood out to me the most often is how often the Juggernaut equips Bulwark. Because you just throw up a Bulwark, and the next 4 hits that you would take are just gone, and then you get a new weapon next turn. So it just feels like you get random ice blocks out of nowhere, and you just get to not take damage, or you get a Gore Howl, and you hit your opponent for 7. Or somewhere in the middle. But, like,
So
those are pretty good.
There's 9.
Those are really good outcomes, yeah.
Yeah, there's 9 standard playable weapons in Warrior at the moment. That's pretty good chances.
I think so, yeah. Like,
I'm filtering it right now over on the official site.
I count 8 so far, and there's one in the set. Is there one in the set? It's got to be. Or no, I'm missing the 9. There's the 2 1-drops, the Baton, Bulwark, the Maul, the Axe, the other Axe, the Scythe, and Gorehowl. Yeah. I don't, it's pretty solid. If we were picking a quest to end on, to call, this is the one they want you to play in Constructed, here we are. We got there. You all remember the Taunt quest from Angora, right? Taunt Warrior? You know how many taunts you had to play to trigger it?
Like 1 billion.
7 taunts. This is 7 pirates with bonuses along the way. That was just play 7 taunts and just get there when you get there. This seems like it's going to be a thing that people do and they're going to win because they did it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they printed Harbor Scamp, which is the 2-mana 2/2 pirate battlecry draw a pirate. Cage Match Custodian's a good card. This is that, except it just keeps going and draws you more pirates and pushes your quest. So be very surprised if this ended up not being good enough.
Reksham in the chat room brings up a good point that Sphere of Sapience is also possible because it's a neutral weapon. So keep that in mind. 10 weapons, so 1 out of 10 chance getting Bulwark.
Ironically, we didn't see that coming.
No, I'm not. No.
Come on, that was good, Garrett. Come on.
Nope. Raid the Docks, the Juggernaut seems good. I mean, hell, like Emperor Car, you still get a 7/7 on top of summoning the Juggernaut. The Juggernaut doesn't do jack until the start of next turn.
A 7/7 pirate.
Yeah. And Juggernaut doesn't do anything until the start of next turn, but still, oh boy, does it do things once the next turn starts. Oh, goodness. Now, you talked about Lothar on episode 425, so you want to hear our thoughts on that, go check that out. And most of the neutral legendaries have already been covered. Flightmaster Dungar on episode 423, and Cornelius Rome and Varian King of Stormwind on 425, but we have not talked about Auctioneer Jackson. Auctioneer Jackson is a 2-mana 2/3 legendary neutral minion that reads, whenever you trade, discover a card from your deck, to draw instead?
I mean, this is cool. This is interesting, like design space with tradable cards, but I don't think you really need this. I think tradable's good enough. Like this just makes the tradable keyword better. But I mean, yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think? I look at this and go, I don't really think I need it.
Same. And if I was a budget player, I would also think my dust doesn't go very far because this card is very specific to as long as tradable cards are printed.
Mm-hmm. And we do have some really good tradable cards, but again, I think just being able to draw a different card from your deck is kind of fine. Like Discover's always going to be better than a random card, obviously, but I don't think it's necessary. Not where the cards slot anyways. And 2 mana and a board slot and all the other things that Auctioneer Jackson takes up.
I talked about tradable a lot on Coin Concede this week, and the short version is you win games of Hearthstone by doing stuff. Trading is not doing stuff, and spending 2 mana to not do stuff better is not worth it.
Fair.
It's cool. But
Cool design, but yeah. And then finally is Lady Prestor, which I'm scrolling to find. There we go. Lady Prestor is a 6-mana, 6/7 legendary neutral minion with a battle cry that reads, transform minions in your deck into random dragons. They keep their original stats and cost. What the Kibler is happening here?
This one is one I am crafting day one. I don't even care if it's good. It just
good
seems
news,
so
Joss.
cool. Oh yeah, right.
You don't
it's
need
the
to
rewards
craft it.
track. I don't even need
It's
to craft. I'm
free.
just gonna play with it because
Level
she's just
1.
so cool.
Yeah. This is a very cool card.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so the minions in your deck, they like if you have a 1-mana 1/1, it remains a 1-mana 1/1, but it might be a 1-mana 1/1 that deals 8 to your opponent or heals you for 8. Or it might be a 1-mana 1/1 that
Potential.
fills your hand with spells. Or the meme dream that people are going for in either Hunter Quest or Demon Hunter with Felfire Deadeye, so it could be a Koldara Drake that lets you hero power infinitely because that card's in standard. And if you get that with the 0-mana Hunter Quest, congratulations, you won the game if you can click fast enough. Good luck.
Oh, dear God. That is going to happen. Coming to a Trollden video near you.
Yeah.
We're in a Trollden video. Like, that's
Yes.
just how it is.
Yeah. I think she's so cool.
We only talked about the legendaries. I mean, we danced around when legendaries fit into archetypes, and we're going to talk about more archetypes here in a second, but this set.
I'm so excited for
it is so. This is a difficult set to evaluate.
Yep.
Feels like there's a lot of power potential.
There's so many different effects, like things that we've never seen in Hearthstone before. And there are so many different ways to play things. And a lot of stuff is really late game. And are we even going to be able to play late game things? And, maybe, probably, yes, there's also tools to get us there. So, like, overall, this expansion just feels like the most crazy things that we might actually get to do. I guess like there's definitely some that are kind of like borderline and you might win some but you're probably going to lose a lot, but still like they're playing around with a lot of super crazy things, and I like where their head is at on this expansion.
Yeah. It's it seems strong. I think this is gonna be a memorable one.
Mm-hmm.
This is cool. They did so much cool stuff. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's good. I don't care. I want to do the cool stuff. And this set is just so full of cool, interesting, different stuff. And Baron's just like, all right, let's go back to a modern reimagining of classic Hearthstone. And this is like, let's do whatever the hell we want.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yep.
You want some dragons? What if they cost 1? Like, sure, whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
All right. So before we talk archetypes and end the show, who do we think are craftable candidates we always get asked this. We get tons of emails, we get tons of tweets, we get tons of messages in the Discord. Hey, what should I craft? So let's get the disclaimer of you should be patient if you can be patient.
Yes.
Is always, I think, the operative behavior, because there's always things that we miss in our excitement leading up to new Hearthstone expansions. That said, it's no fun for that to be the answer. So, Hat, what do you think is a safe bet to craft?
So my general rule for crafting, I don't go for legendaries. I go for commons, especially neutral commons that I'm going to play a lot, and cards that make other cards. That's generally my rule. So the rewards track this time around, the golden cards they give us, Pandaren and Porter, the 2 mana 1/3 that discovers a card that didn't start in your deck. That's the first golden common that you get on the rewards track. Level 4, you do one quest, you're there. You play like one game, you're there. That's a really great card for them to give away because the card it generates is golden. And there's Bread Baker and Rustrot Viper are on the list. Encumbered Pack Mule is on the list of cards you get for free in golden, which is really great. And Elwyn Boar at level 65 and 75, which I totally would have crafted golden otherwise. So cards that I like making, which are cards that make other stuff. Tiny Toys, which I think is very, very powerful. That's the 6 mana shaman spell that makes 4 5-drops that all get set to 2/2. I think that card is insanely broken. But also it makes 4 things, and those things could make more things, so I want them all in gold. And then First Flame, which is I talked about it earlier. It's a card that makes another card, and it's all fiery and stuff, and I bet it looks super cool in gold, so I'll definitely make those. And I also wrote down in the show notes here, rogue stuff. I like rogue stuff.
That's like me saying, I'm going to craft paladin stuff. I don't think anyone is surprised.
No.
But of the legendaries we just talked about, I think Raid the Docks is probably the safest craft in the history of safe crafting in Hearthstone. Speaking of paladin stuff, High Lord 4 Dragon is at the very top of my, I think this is safe to spend dust on list. The quest line, I don't know. I'm personally going to be crafting if I don't crack it because I love paladin and I want to try everything out. But I think 4 Dragon is a safe bet. And same goes for Netheron in Warlock. I think Handlock is absolutely going to be a force. And if you're playing Handlock, I think you want to play a Netheron. So I think a Netheron is also another safe legendary craft if you're going down the Handlock route.
I think all that's fair. I think I would probably be looking into rogue stuff too. I think Find the Imposter, the quest line, is really interesting. I like the idea of the gizmos, and I'm not normally a rogue player, so I think that this is probably enough to pull me into that world. I also want to play around, and guys, don't get mad at me, okay? But I want to play around with Seek Guidance, which is the priest quest line. So again, don't get mad at me. But again, I like the crazy, splashy, do weird stuff kind of cards, especially very first thing in the expansion. And I know I'm going to get punished by a lot of face hunters, but you know what? It's okay, because I just want a card that says destroy my enemy. That feels very Joce. So I'm just down for it. I think it's going to be super fun. So I'm going to probably be crafting that one as well. And then in terms of legendary crafts, like I always like to pick a neutral, and I think that Varian, King of Stormwind, is also one that I think is just gonna be kind of good and cool, and especially if you're looking at doing paladin-y things, or I don't know, it seems like it's doing a thing that has been good in the past, and it's big. So I don't know. I like big minions, and I cannot lie.
Jesus, I just noticed the flavor text on Varian. Has anyone seen this?
Oh yeah.
It reads, "Man, this guy is so cool. Sure hope nothing happens to him."
Yeah, you got some bad news.
Yeah.
Now we're stuck with Anduin.
So Varian is the diamond in the reward track, but that's the paid side of it, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
The diamond Varian is very cool.
Yeah.
Like,
it is
very cool. This is one of the, I think, technically best illustrations I've seen in the set. It's a fantastic pose. It's a wonderful, wonderful just painting a variant. I love this freaking illustration. So just classically epic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
it's excellent.
Yep, that's where my dust is gonna go if I don't crack them. So I'm gonna be playing priest, you guys. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Way to
But
be,
also
Joce.
rogue. Also,
be.
I
Yes.
feel like I always try rogue at the beginning of every expansion, and the way that I want to play rogue is never the good way to play rogue, and then I end up not playing rogue. So hopefully that this will be viable and fun.
You could wait you could exercise patience, something I know I am bad at, and then eventually Hat is going to be like, here's how it works.
Yeah.
Well, I can explain how this rogue list works right now. You play SI7 cards and do it until somebody's dead. That's it.
Yeah. I like that
Hopefully your
idea.
opponent. Yeah, it's fun.
So what archetypes do we have going on that we think are going to be viable at the beginning of the new expansion?
Well, Hat, you just mentioned Fire Mage because of First Flame.
Yes.
Maybe we start there.
Joce, can you think of any way you would describe this archetype?
Fire mage?
Yes.
Oh, so hot.
She said it.
Are you trying to get me to say it every single episode? I feel like I've had to say that tagline every episode.
They keep printing
I've been
hot
a fan
things.
of this show for 6 years. Yes, absolutely. The call is coming from inside the house.
Oh my god. Oh my god, it feels like that Simpsons episode. Say the line. And everyone's cheering, and I'm just like, so hot.
Somebody please cap that version of it. Please and thank
Yeah,
you.
I'm absolutely clipping that and putting it on the soundboard of
Please.
like the sad hot.
Please send that to me.
I'm calling that the lukewarm.
Oh god.
This is when I first joined the instance. I definitely was like, Scott, can you play this one very specific bumper I remember 7 years ago? Thank you. I'm a fan. Do the thing. Sorry, Hat. I don't until they had crackle back to standard. I don't think you get to go. Hey, Garrett, could you rage? Thank you.
I'm sure we'll find something.
Anyways, yeah, fire. I'm sure we will. Probably a very vaguely written card. But yeah, Fire Mage. There's just a lot here. As kind of unsure as I am about Antonitis, there's just a whole lot of fire going on. Seems like there's too much for it not to end up being an archetype.
Yeah, and then so for buff paladin, I mean, we talked about him a little bit earlier on, but High Lord Four Dragon just seems to be like too good not to just create a kind of bubble buffy paladin. Period. Like this card is just so good.
Yeah.
And Divine Shield as a keyword has always been good, right? Like, hey, do you have a minion that you like? Well, what if he got to, do something for free? Not die.
Yeah, and there's other bubble synergy here too, because we've got Noble Mount, which is the 2 mana, give a minion +1/+1 and Divine Shield when it dies, summon a Warhorse. Like, it's not just Four Dragon bringing new bubbles to the yard.
Right, yeah.
It's Four Dragon is kind of the cross section along with the jewel kit of Divine Shield and Hand Buff together, and it's clear they really want you to be doing both of these things.
Mhm.
And there are payoffs like Catacomb Guard, which scales. It's the lifesteal that deals damage equal to its attack when you play it. And there's the 4 mana 3/5 that if it has 4 attack, I think it gains Rush, and it also has Divine Shield, and that's just such a crazy deal.
Yeah, First Blade of Rin, Divine Shield, Battlecry, gain Rush if this has at least 4 attack. And yeah, that's the 3/5.
Yeah, so basically buff it once and then do a thing.
So it's got there's a very clear direction here of not just all in on the hand buff, not just all in Divine Shield, but a little bit of like the mix and match there. And it's more, the whole is more than the sum of its parts. And I think it's a really interesting direction. It looks really strong too. These cards are very efficiently costed. Alliance Bannerman in particular is basically like minion Dungeoneer. Like you just draw a minion. There's no conditionality to it. You just buff your whole hand and draw a card and get the 2/2. This card's gonna be everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This is so my kind of pally. Like, just buff dudes, give them bubbles. Buff bubble
Yeah.
dudes. That's what I want. That's what I want my
Sticky
pally.
numbers.
Double dudes.
Just a lot of sticky numbers.
The only thing I don't want is Light's Justice. That's it. That's it. Yeah, this is Pally's looking like exactly my kind of archetypal jam.
Yep.
We haven't talked much about Shadow Priest. How are we feeling about Shadow Priest as an archetype? Because it's definitely getting some love in the set.
Oh yeah, this set was just like, I am doing Shadow Priest now. Okay, thanks, bye. Except for me, who is going to seek guidance like a weirdo, but everybody else is doing Shadow things.
Listen. We may cover the disdain, the wide disdain held by the community at Priest, and we may ourselves hold some personal disdain for Priest. But people play Priest. We wouldn't be mad at Priest if people weren't playing Priest. I don't think you're going to be weird by playing Seek Guidance, Josh. You're just going to be hated. I hope you're okay with that.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's okay. Like, no one can be surprised by what you're doing when you play the quest line in turn 1. There's no mystery to the game plan here, and they can't complain about RNG because the card that you generate at the end of the game is the same one every time.
Mhm.
Like, you don't want to dirtle around with a bunch of like Nizoth and Raised Dead and whatever. No, you just want to make the one card that costs 10, then you want to play it, and then you want their face to blow up.
Yeah, but to
Like
bring the
cannon. It's the same size as a
conversation,
cannon.
It's the same set as the cannon.
to bring the conversation back to Shadow Priest, do we think Shadow Priest as an archetype is going to arrive with Stormwind?
It was already
People gonna
close,
play it.
right? Yeah.
I mean, kind of. There were cards with the word shadow on them. This is a very clear, like, no, this is a Shadow Priest. Like, you start the game pinging your opponent in the face. Like, priests are used to hero powering their opponent's face on turn 2, but now it does something. You don't have to emote anymore, and it actually does damage.
That's fancy.
Can I still emote,
Right?
though?
Yes,
You
absolutely.
do what you want to do, Garrett. You do what you want to do.
Good. I don't think I have to ask the question if you think SI7 Rogue is going to be a thing, because I think our conversation around Find the Imposter answered that question with a resounding hell yes.
Yes.
Hat's just doing his, like, contented Rogue smile again.
I'm
so
happy
good.
because people are going to die tomorrow.
Wow.
In the game.
Yeah.
Thank you for specifying. Avoid Hat.
Out of context.
Everybody, we
Yeah.
need it. We need it. Send help. Send help. All right, and then Overload Shaman. Definitely
We talked
go.
about that a little already with the quest. Yeah.
I think I'm the biggest believer here in Overload Shaman. It sounds like from the conversation we were having.
Yeah, I think it could be a thing. I'm glad that that's the direction that they're going. Shaman did get some interesting cards. Hat mentioned the I'm totally tiny toys something. That one. Like they did get some interesting cards. And yeah, the quest does enable Overload Shaman a little bit more time. Okay, it is Tiny Toys. I thought for some reason it was Tiny Tots, and I'm like, I don't think that's right.
That's I'm disappointed if someone brings out tater tots and I would describe them as tiny. That's no good.
So yeah, I think there's definitely support for Overload Shaman, and I'm interested to see if people can make the quest work. So thumbs up to that one.
I choose to believe.
Mhm.
I don't want to believe. I do believe.
And then, I mean, I think we're actually going to start to see. Oh, sorry, Hat. Do you have Shaman
No.
thoughts?
No,
Okay.
it's good.
Okay.
I just want to point out I'm not skeptical of the quest. I'm just weirded out by like, hey, you over there are loading cards. I like you. Here's a 3/3.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's better than a Light's Justice.
Yeah,
We have a bar to clear, and that bar is a 1/4 weapon.
Okay. Either way, I do think Overload Shaman looks cool, and like Doomhammer with all of your stuff casting twice also seems cool.
Very cool. Also, the fact that you think that Warlock's going to have 2 different potential archetypes, I feel like we haven't really seen Warlock in a while. I'm down for Warlock to have a couple of different ways to play that are competitively viable. I'm ready for them to come back.
One of my most played classes.
Right?
I have not really messed with them. The last time I played Warlock was when Classic Mode launched. That was the last time I played Warlock.
Yeah, gotta get your Zoo on, and Zoo was definitely very good back then. I mean, we've had like
what a reminder too, right? Like going back to
Yeah.
Classic and seeing what Zoo used to be, and geez, now it's just well, it's not.
No, it's really not. The most recent highly competitive Warlock deck I can remember was before the Dark Lair nerf in Skolo, so like a year ago, because everything else was kind of memey and bad. And then we had Quest Warlock in Ashes for like a second, and we had Galakrond Warlock with unnerfed Sack Pact in DOD. Gosh, it's been forever. Yeah, it's been a while. So I'm excited for both Handlock, which we talked about. They printed 4 or 5 cards that explicitly referenced your hand. Like they want this to be a thing. And then the Demon Seed as well looks fascinating and is a very different way to play Warlock that still feels super Warlocky. That's the quest line.
Mm-hmm. What was the reward for that quest again?
Blightborn Tamsin, 5 mana, 7/7 battle cry for the rest of the game. Damage you take on your turn damages to your opponent instead.
Right. So you build your deck around kicking yourself in the face, and then partway through you start kicking your opponent instead. That's fun.
I am way more convinced about Handlock's competitive viability, but I am holding out hope for self-damaging. Let's just, I don't know, self-destructive Warlock. What are we going to call this thing?
Sure, I like that. Self-destructive Warlock.
BDSM Warlock.
Oh boy.
Hello.
We'll have to clear that with our sponsors. But so I don't put a ton of stock in the theory crafting streams because they have major deck building restrictions, but
right.
Regis was playing some Demon Seed Warlock No Hands was too, but Regis had a video out, and if you start your turn by drawing 1 card in Fatigue, life tap again, and then cast Backfire, that's 21 damage. That's a ton. It's so much. So I think there's a very real possibility of building a really low to the curve deck that aims to get to Fatigue as quickly as possible, trigger Tamsin, and then you just draw in Fatigue and your opponent instantly dies. And so I don't know if that's going to be good, but you get to cut all the expensive cards, and that historically has made decks a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think there's some interesting kind of deck building space around this idea, which gets me really excited. I think it's also, I mean, and I'm sure you're right, Hat, that there's going to be some like super quick and maybe not easy way to do this, but I also like the idea of like having to get your own health total down before getting some like big, huge, crazy reward. And it's kind of like riding that line where, you know, you have to get your payoff before your opponent can kill you because they have to do way less than they normally would have to do because you're helping them. So it's like riding that line there, which, you know, like very much wasn't really a possibility because everything's been so aggressive lately that it's going to be really interesting to see if you can get away with this. And if you can, you know, like be aggressive to yourself and also, you know, get through your deck really fast and do the thing before they can, you know, kill you with your own help. Like it's just, it's a really fun design space for Hearthstone and a really fun deck building challenge that I want to see if it fits the current meta, or I guess the Stormwind meta.
Yeah, it's the last time they tried damage yourself to win the game, it ended up with Dark Glare, and well, it worked, but maybe this can be that with fewer turn 4 8/8s.
Yeah.
Well, the only other archetype to talk about is Pirate Warrior, and I don't think we need to sell anyone on Pirate Warrior anymore.
Yeah, we were pretty into
No.
that when we talked about Warrior earlier, so.
Yeah, we're already on the boat.
Yep.
We're on the Juggernaut.
Yeah. We're
There
all
you go.
aboard.
Yay!
Ooh, it's the Juggernaut. Don't
That's it. I'm out. We're done.
don't watch X-Men 3 to study up.
Oh,
Yeah.
man, that movie was such a disappointment.
It really was.
Could be worse. Could have been Dark Phoenix.
They just can't get Phoenix right in movies, can they?
Mm.
Twice now.
It's 0 for 2.
It's a-
Phoenix rose from the ashes only to burn up again. Kind of ironic.
Well, anyways, I think it's going to bring us to an end of our Stormwind launch episode. Hope everybody is... I wish you all good luck in your pack openings. That's what I hope for. That brings us to the end of this episode. Keep the emails coming, everybody. Just because we didn't have time on this 2-hour episode leading up into the launch of Stormwind doesn't mean we're not going to get back to them. So tacpodcast@gmail.com is the place you do so. Other than that, TAC is supported by our wonderful patrons supporting us over at patreon.com/TAC. So if you like what we're doing here and you want to support the program, patreon.com/TAC is how you do so. $1 or more, it all helps, and we really, really appreciate it. So thank you. Also, a huge thanks to our Patreon producers, Declan H., Cheesy Bob, and Jeffrey D. If you want to catch the back catalog of episodes, especially 423 and 425, where we talked about the other legendaries that we didn't discuss today, those can be found over at theangrychicken.com or whatever podcast listening application you are using. You can just scroll back a little bit. It's right there. Go ahead, give it a download. Just download the old ones while you're at it, even if you don't listen to it. No, I'm not trying to pad my numbers at all. Why are you accusing me? Other than that, before we go, Joce, where can people find you when you're not on the Angry Chicken?
You can find me on Twitter and Twitch. I'm at Joce Plays. That's JOCE Plays. You can also check out the Gamers Inn for my general gaming podcast.
Ridiculous Hat.
Find me right here, or twitter.com/RidiculousHat is the hub of my content. That's the best place to go. But also coinconcede.com or vicioussyndicate.com. And tomorrow, 10 o'clock Eastern, you can find me at twitch.tv/RidiculousHat because on stream launch day, I stream every deck that I can find. So see you there tomorrow at 10 o'clock Eastern.
Every deck you can find, twitch.tv/RidiculousHat.
I think last time I filled my deck slots before I started the stream and then deleted half of them. And then by the next day, I'd filled them again.
That does not surprise me.
Yeah, that's a
problem.
lot.
Yeah.
What about you, Garrett?
I'm Garrett Art on Twitter. You can find me there recently tweeting about my undying love for Green Day. Billy Joe is my senpai, and he has still not noticed me. It's a shame. It's a shame. Other than that, amove.tv for this podcast and every single other one that I do. I would like to give an extra special shout out to Into the Nexus this week, not because it is a wonderful Heroes of the Storm podcast that I do with my good friend and at times called internet wife Kyle Ferguson, but because the last week in support of the Activision Blizzard walkout, we did a complete rundown of the entire timeline of allegations involved in not only the lawsuit against Activision Blizzard, but also all of the stories that broke after Tuesday last week. Kyle did a ton of research digging out stories and even found some things that I hadn't even seen yet. And then we put it into chronological order to give you a better idea of how far back all of this stretches. It's very, 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 very different from the Angry Chicken episode we posted last week. So if the Angry Chicken was kind of the emotional core reaction, Into the Nexus is like the story kind of presented cold and as factual as we could make it. So go give that a listen. I thought Kyle just absolutely killed it in the notes there. So anyways, that's going to wrap it up for this episode of The Angry Chicken. Continue supporting the Activision Blizzard walkout. Keep your eyes and ears open for more shenanigans coming from crappy lawyers at Activision. And until next time, job's done.
Job's done.
Job's done.
Bye, Francis.
Yay.
All right.
I thought we made good time.
Yeah, we definitely
We
did.
talked about a lot of stuff.
We definitely did.
The flow was with us.
It was.
Somebody just liked a reply to a tweet of mine from 2017.
Must
It's
have been a
always
good
weird when that happens.
Yeah, and it doesn't seem to be like a porn bot, which makes me more confused. 9 times out of 10, it's like, follow me on my whatever. Insert CD websites here. But this one just appears to be a person. So, I don't know. But you go, person. You go. All right. Well, I need to bring the stream down because I got to go do schoolwork. Just ending the stream. So hours ago, when we first started this show, which was about 2 hours ago, I texted Katie and said, hey, honey, can you bring me my water that I filled specifically for the show and forgot out there like an idiot? And here we are 2 hours and 20 minutes later. Thank you, honey. I love you.
Well, you know what I did? I got the vent up in the bedroom.
Oh, damn, you did? Sorry. Long story. Katie fixed the thing I failed to fix. Good job. And there was not a comical crash after she delivered that information. Sweet. So thanks for watching, everybody. Let's find someone to raid. I've been bad about this. I've been trying to be better about this, but I've been bad about it recently. Joce, Hat, any of your buddies streaming?
Do I have friends?
You have more than friends. You have podcast co-hosts.
That's true. McBannerface? McBannerface. He's a grandmaster.
/raid. How do I spell that?
McBanterface.
Raid McBanter Face. Doing it now. There it is. Tell McBanterface we said hi. And we will see you. Well, Hat will see you tomorrow, but we'll see you in a week's time for the next Angry Chicken. Bye now.
Bye. You both have schoolwork.